Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
That's right, right field. That's a base hit. Santander's way to home. Robles throws for the plate. It's cut off for the third. He's out, but the run had scored. 2010. Vlad Jr. sends a high drive to deep center field. Rodriguez, it's gone. First pitch of the fifth. Vlad Jr. launches a solo shot. Kirk sends a fly ball the other way. Robles retreating to the track, to the wall. It's a home run. Opposite field blast for Alejandro Kirk, and a dozen for the Jays on their fourth bomb of the night.
Well, it was an elite environment. They had a gold out. Crowd was electric. So we've practiced all week with insane crowd noise to be prepared for it. And we're counting on the Husker Nation to show up and even out the volume to a degree. But there'll become a time like last game where silent cadence down inside the 10, where it's just what it is in the Big Ten and big time football. And we prepared since camp, so we do silent all the time, but we did silent this week as well, so we'll be ready if needed. The rest of it, it's kind of once the game gets started, we blocks and tackles better.
Good morning. Welcome in to Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, Rico?
Yeller.
You're not DB.
No, I am not.
As people may have noticed. DB is getting his way to Minnesota, as you can imagine, with the early game this week. So he will not be on the show today. He will join us with a little special guest. The entire broadcast team will be joining us tomorrow.
All of them?
Yes, everybody. All like 12. No, it'll be DB and Kyle Crooks will join us tomorrow morning as well. So
I think they should have Jessica join as well.
I think she might kill them if they were all together.
What?
I think they should have. I think they should have Jessica join as well.
Should we throw Ben McLaughlin in there too?
Why the hell not?
I love Ben. Ben's terrific. He's a Charlotte Hornets fan, which makes me feel
Is
bad
he?
for him.
That
But
sucks.
now he's got Ryan Kalkbrenner, so he's cool.
It doesn't help.
He was plus 26 in preseason last night. So
Cool. I can't wait for him to get yammed on.
He's definitely gonna get yammed on.
Welcome to the NBA moment.
All rim protect.
Karl Anthony Towns is gonna hit a three in his face, and then OG Anunoby's gonna dunk on him.
That reminds me, I need to make a pick in my keeper fantasy league draft. I was thinking about taking OG Anunoby.
You should.
So here's a funny thing about fantasy basketball is it's too long. Like basketball season is too long and there's too many days to have to do stuff.
Yeah.
I lose interest like 2 months in.
I played it once.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really fun.
I've
been trying to find a league or some people
Yeah.
to start one up or to join, and I cannot find anybody. So if there's anybody out there that has a fantasy basketball league, please let me know. I will join.
It was a ton of fun when I was in high school and college and had a lot of free time and nothing better to do, which is when this league started. I've been in this league for 18 years. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super fun, but it's also I forget the keeper rules every single year. And the guy that runs the league, I think, hates me just because he's like, my God, man, it's not that hard.
How do you always forget this?
Yeah, no, he literally has just started sending screenshots of the last time I asked and he answered.
Yeah.
He doesn't even bother replying anymore. He
I love
just
that.
it's very passive aggressive and something I would do, and I actually appreciate it about him.
It's great.
Maybe I'll just let you manage my team.
Okay.
Because you can help me draft today too.
Okay, I will. When do you draft?
So it's an offline draft. So you just pick a guy because you can't get all 12 of us in a time zone together.
Yeah.
So they're just hey, you pick a guy, then you text the next guy that it's his turn to pick.
Oh,
It's a very
that's very kind of trusting.
It is. It's all from guys from Nebraska Christian College.
Oh, so very trusting. Yeah.
There's 8 pastors in this
Stop
league.
shouting out lie.
If you can't trust
That
them,
works. Yeah. If you can't trust a pastor, who can you trust?
Yeah. Well,
Not Ravi, that's for sure.
No, it's the guy that chose not to be a pastor actively. No, it's fun, but you've got to remind me to do that later, otherwise I'm going to forget.
I'm going to help you. And you're going to win.
That would be terrific because I always.
Is there a belt or a trophy?
I've never won, so I have no idea.
Is anybody in any fantasy leagues where there is a belt or a trophy?
I do think we should get. I'm
only in I'm in one with some friends from college that it's just money.
Then you're in
So
our work
that's-
one,
Then in the work one, but there's no money in that
which
one.
I got left out of.
Sorry, dude.
It's not cool.
Sorry.
I do think we should
Kenny's undefeated. He almost lost to Anna, though.
I do think.
Bellinghausen, and she's 0-6.
Oh no, I do think we should get belts. I think more things should have championship belts.
Yes.
There's
More belts.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
trophies, though.
I like trophies too, but I also want belts.
For the shoulder or to wear along the waist?
I just want to hold them up like this. I just want to Bud Crawford it. Just walk out of places doing this. I think I'm a bigger fan of trophies are good for like organizations.
Mhm.
I think the individual should get belts and rings. Like you put the trophy, like the national championship trophy in Nebraska's.
That's for everyone.
Yeah, that's for everyone. You
Yeah.
get the nice.
It's for everyone to enjoy. And like, hey, I won that trophy with my team.
Speaking of which, can we go? This is
Well, are we just
yeah.
flip-flopping? That's fine.
Can we go
Your
back
show.
to the crystal football trophies for the
Yes.
national champions, please?
I think we should.
Please, they're so much better than that weird tube thing.
The golden thing with the football on top of
Yeah,
it.
give me the crystal. You know how cool it was to see a guy take the
Grab it.
crystal off the.
Ah!
Incredible.
And then you were scared that he was going to drop it and it was going to break.
Yeah, but then they make another one. No big deal.
I think it's only broken once before.
Listen, crystal's more durable than people think. It's not glass.
I know, but
Like-
still, it's a hollow crystal football. Like if
might-
you drop it, it'll break.
It might be solid. You don't know.
I don't think it is. The way that they're lifting it out of, I don't think it's solid.
Football players are strong. I don't know.
The
if
coaches aren't. Damn it, Shane.
that actually scared me. I was like, "What did we just break?"
What did I break?
I do. Can we? Is there? Who do I need to talk to about getting the crystal footballs back?
The NCAA,
Okay.
the
NCAA.
College Football Playoff Committee.
Actually, that's probably more accurate. Because all the
Condoleezza Rice still on the College Football Playoff Committee?
I don't know. Let's see if we can get a hold of her.
Shane, call Condoleezza Rice.
To's not still on.
Just start a Twitter handle with it.
To's not still on.
Okay,
It
you'll be
is.
fine.
Bring back Crystal.
Make crystal great again.
People are gonna think it's about the football.
No, they're gonna think it's about meth. They'll think it's a really big like Breaking Bad account.
You gotta have Walter White holding the crystal
Yeah.
football. Be like,
Austin.
which one am I talking about?
Austin.
You're right. He's on it.
Hey.
He's got it.
Meme machine. Let's do this. No, I do. I miss the crystal. I miss the crystal football. It's like an iconic thing for them. To just like look at me, Simba. This trophy.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's much better than what they had before the crystal football, which was like the bronze trophy thing.
Yeah, I will say all NCAA
Nebraska has 2 of those.
sanctioned trophies are stupid looking. They're just like the square, like
do you
the
mean?
actual NCAA ones. Because the college football thing is different, right?
That's actually not NCAA, so you don't have to talk to them.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so I need to talk college football playoff
Yeah.
committee, but or maybe ESPN. ESPN could probably fix it for me.
Honestly, the
But-
SEC.
Those stupid like just rectangular.
Oh,
they're
not dumb.
They're really dumb.
I
looking.
like them. Have
Can-
you seen? You can get individual ones for like swimming and track and wrestling.
Can you
You
Google,
can get the little baby ones.
Can you try and get a picture of one up on the screen?
Sure.
Because
I have a friend who has one. He was like the runner-up in track and field, and he has one of those. It's like actually he did it twice, so he has 2 of them in his room. It's really
Right.
cool.
oh, you get one for the runner up too.
Yeah.
Is it the same like shape?
So for like track, the
Mhm.
top 8 get them,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. and it says like what place.
How do you?
And you're all and like top 8, like that's all Americans.
Right. I know that they do the All Americans, but how do you differentiate the national champion than if you all get the same trophy?
Because it says first.
I feel like I would
Or
want
it
a
says
better.
national champion.
I feel like I would want a better trophy if I'm the national champion. Like I don't want the same trophy as the 8th place guy, because from a distance, like if it's just on your mantle, like if you're doing if we're doing one of our post game shows from our house and it's just on your mantle,
Yeah.
other people are gonna think you're a national champion, or other
Solid.
people are gonna think you're 8th place. And if I was the national champion, I'd be mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
I'd be like, hey, I'm 7 places better than that loser. Give me.
I'm better than him or her.
Give me my national champion trophy.
I am better than that person, and you need to regard to or talk to me as such.
We need better trophies.
I mean, the $5 Bits of Broken Chair trophy is pretty elite.
Incredible trophy. One of the best.
There's that crystal football for you.
Oh, we love the crystal football. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Just an iconic. Who is that?
No idea.
Austin.
Is that Walter White? Because that looks like Nick Saban.
Is it Nick Saban like mixed with Walter White?
But it also looks like he's wearing the Jim Tressel. It's not a sweater vest, but it's a full sweater.
Yeah.
But it's the Jim Tressel design.
Kobe says Ravi's a huge crystal fan. Crystal trophies only. He says that is Walter Saban or Nick White. TK says, from personal experience, people on meth, not good, and meth never left. Oh, I guess meth has always been popular.
Don't have to make it great again. It's still great.
That's good to know.
There.
See, like, that's a stupid-looking trophy.
I think it's cool.
I think it's dumb. Compared to the crystal football?
I mean, obviously, it's not better than the crystal football.
Can you imagine? What if let's just do crystal for all trophies. Give me a crystal basketball.
Everybody gets crystal for a trophy.
You know,
get first place, you get crystal.
We could call it the Walter White Memorial Heisenberg Trophy.
No, we can't.
We could.
We could. They won't.
Well, they won't and could and can't aren't the same thing.
They will not.
I'm just saying, crystal basketball trophy instead of that piece of crap. It's just wood.
But there's gold.
I'm just
and glass.
You know that's not real gold.
That's real gold.
No, there's not a chance.
100% real gold.
That's a crap trophy. What?
Austin's comment.
What is it? My personal favorite crystal was the first lady down at Paradise City Strip Club at Elm Creek.
Make crystal great again.
Listen, I'm sure that crystal's doing just fine.
Isn't she always great?
I wouldn't know.
Apparently Shane does.
I never went to Elm Creek. I know some people who did. Austin.
Is there really a strip club in Elm Creek?
Yeah, it's just kind of there by itself.
Is it like the Pink Shack off
It doesn't look great.
Is it like the Pink Shack off the Waverly exit?
No, it's no.
Okay.
No. I don't know what that is.
I just assumed it was a strip club. Is it not?
I would assume a pink building like that would be a strip club.
I
don't want to, be rude to the fine people of Waverly, but I mean, it's also way too close to the high school.
It's like in the backyard.
It's like way too close to the high school if it is.
If anybody's listening, Kobe says they reopened the strip club at Elm Creek.
I didn't know it closed. It was open when I was in college.
So wait.
Stop. Mention Wyatt.
Wyatt, that's a different Paradise City. I am a huge fan there. David, are you talking about the one in Waverly or the one in Elm Creek? Because he seems to.
We're talking about two of them. We're talking about two different strip clubs.
Apparently. No, he said that's no longer there, though. So I'm trying to ask.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Oh, the pink building is. Oh, you're the man.
Oh, it's gone.
The pink. But was it a strip club? Can somebody verify that for me?
It had to have been.
I mean, it also could have been like just a normal sex shop. You know, where they have like the.
No, just normal and sex shop aren't really two things that I would.
just your regular run of the mill sex shop.
Run of the mill. Nothing too crazy over here.
Tim says, I pray Tom Osborne isn't listening this morning. David has verified it was a strip club. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Shakers. Thank Chabo. Listen, I know our listeners, all right? I knew they would know.
You guys are disgusting.
No judgment. Hey, no judgment.
We listen and we don't judge.
I feel like we could have rebranded this as Shavers, and it'd been a great NIL opportunity for our guy Vincent.
Don't think you can do that.
Oh, okay. You don't think the NCAA committee would have approved that?
Don't think you could do that.
Oh, listen, I'm just trying to do a play on words here. I thought it might work.
That honestly sounds worse, though. Hey, where you going tonight? Oh, yeah, me and my boys are going to Shavers. Nope.
Vincent's. We're going to Vincent's place. It's like
not doing that.
Seems like maybe we call it Vincent's.
Where are you going for your bachelor party? Shavers. Doesn't sound great, does it?
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, it sounds worse to go to. I feel like just go to a strip club off the interstate in Waverly, like whatever it's called. I don't like if someone's like, "Hey, that's the bachelor party," I'd be like, "Are you sure?"
Waverly is a great town.
No, it is, but it's also not like in Waverly.
It's not.
It's on the exit.
It's on the interstate.
Yeah, it's like right off the interstate, and then right next to a high school.
It's so weird.
Feels problematic.
Very.
Must have gotten grandfathered into the zoning laws.
They built the high school, and they're like, "But this is here," and they're like, "That'll be fine."
I'm sure no high schoolers are gonna be like, "Hey, what's that building over there?"
Yeah, like that's a pink building over there. Wonder what that is.
That's funny.
Don't worry about it. You tell a high schooler not to worry about it, they're gonna worry about it.
Oh, apparently Shakers was long gone before Shavers got to Lincoln. The building was there stayed up though for a while, didn't it?
Reopen it.
I mean, the building's gone now, apparently.
TK's right. There are degenerates in this chat.
Lonnie says been closed for years. Okay. David says it was an eyesore. I mean, listen, it was a pink building.
I'm proud of
Yeah,
all these people for knowing so much. About
I
this
actually
thing.
am. Like, I know our people. All right.
I don't.
I know our people.
I'm still slightly new here. I haven't been here a full year.
Asian Wyatt says, since Rural listens, I can't wait for him to suddenly bring up this in the next press conference.
My strip club is still open.
Yeah. I hope he's getting ready for the trip this morning.
I hope Rule brings this up to DB. Like, so you were off the show, and 5 minutes in, they're talking about strip clubs.
I don't even know how. Oh, Crystal, has that sound?
Crystal.
This is Austin's fault.
Isn't it always?
Yeah, almost always. I would say I would like to go back to Crystal trophies.
Okay.
That's all.
I don't disagree with that.
That's where this started.
What is the best trophy in sports?
Well,
Because I know that a lot of people are going to say the Stanley Cup.
the Stanley Cup is iconic.
It's solid.
It's
It's
better.
It honestly is probably it's top 2.
It's better than solid. It is iconic.
Yeah.
It is honestly the ability to drink things out of
Out of a trophy?
like
it's,
that.
it's number one. I mean, what would you have as number one then?
I think it is number one.
The World Cup trophy. I just like it better. It just looks cooler.
The World Cup trophy?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that trophy
I
sucks.
think
Like
it's
the
pretty-
weird hands
I
holding the
think it's
ball.
really- I think it's really cool. Oh, the crown, obviously. Thank you, Austin. How did I know that was going to get put up in here?
That actually is
You can wear it.
that actually is not a bad trophy. And if I can actually wear it, like
If you can eat out of it or put it on, it's a solid trophy.
that's why I want belts.
Actually, I lied. I'm sorry, Shane. I'm sorry to disrespect you. It is not the World Cup trophy, but the Stanley Cup is not the best. It's the Pop-Tarts Bowl trophy.
the Pop-Tarts Bowl trophy is legit.
It's a legit toaster. That never happened.
I hate you, Austin.
That never happened. Kalkbrenner never held the crown.
What does the Indy 500 trophy look like, David? I don't know.
It's a bottle of milk. They
No, I
drink
think
milk.
there's an actual trophy.
No,
isn't
they
there?
drink milk and they kiss bricks.
I know they have like the wreath. They get the they get a
NASCAR trophies don't count.
well, Indy's famously not NASCAR.
I know it's not Indy or it's not NASCAR, but I'm just letting that be known.
Kobe says tennis trophies suck. They're all serving platters. That's second place trophies. The first place trophies are actual trophies, and they are pretty cool looking. They're very old school looking.
Mhm.
They're like how you picture an old school trophy, and they're pretty large. The second place does get
Like
like
the old, like the handle.
yeah, like the handles,
Okay.
and you hold it up, which I think is maybe the IndyCar trophy too.
Just bigger.
Yeah, but Kobe's
Has
right.
the faces of the winners. So like the Stanley Cup has the names of the teams.
Oh,
That one has the. How do you put the faces?
I don't think I like that.
That's terrifying.
I
Actually,
don't think I like that.
I gotta look it up now.
I do think the second place tennis trophies are just platters though, and it's like, am I supposed to serve charcuterie on this? What's happening here?
Oh no, I don't like that.
Let me see.
It's bumpy because it's people's faces.
Oh, that's horrifying.
I don't like that.
I will say the Heisman's pretty good. The Heisman, I know it's not like a championship trophy, but the Heisman trophy is legit.
So I want to know how heavy it actually is. Like they always tell you, oh, it's it's really heavy. It's however many pounds. I'm like not gonna pay attention. I don't care about that. But I want to like try to pick one up because every once in a while you'll see a player like go to grab it and they
Yeah,
go
they're
to
like,
pick it up like, oh, wait a minute.
that is heavy.
And then they like brace themselves. Like when Devontae Smith won. He was like,
yeah,
"Oh," and then he got it.
yeah. Devontae Smith.
He didn't hold it up for very long.
He's a little guy. He's a little guy. So we've had a couple golf ones in here. The Masters. Oh, that's just a building.
That's just a building.
Yeah, it's just the building.
They give you a building.
I don't like that.
No,
Somebody said Cleric Jug.
There it is.
Claret Jug. Oh, Claret Jug's a good trophy.
The Nebraska State Championship trophy is elite.
It actually is. I like that it's the picture. I like that it's the state. My own.
And that it's the. Do they still do the sport like the people statues in front of it for whatever sport it is?
They used to. I don't know if they still do.
Dang,
That was a
that
nice
was
touch.
what made it better.
I also very much appreciate the. I wish that the second place trophy didn't look almost identical. I have a hard time.
That it just says runner up on the bottom.
Yes, I have a hard time when the losers get the same trophy as the winner.
Mm.
I need them to know they lost.
How do you? I need you to know that you lost.
Like if in like 30.
Like, do you want the trophy to be like 3 times smaller?
No, it just can't look the same. Like as much as Kobe was hating on the tennis trophies, like if you get the plate instead of the jug, like you lost.
Yeah.
Like that's very clear.
How many plates do you have in your house?
So many plates. Not a lot of jugs.
Not a lot of jugs. All plates. All plates, no jugs. That's Ravi.
Just hand out giant cardboard checks. This isn't Happy Gilmore.
It's not. Happy learned how to putt.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You don't just get the giant novelty checks.
And then you just hold it in your car.
Yeah, you just put them in your car. It's fine. There are some cool. Asian Y brings up a good point. There are some cool like game trophies, rivalry trophies.
I already know the best one.
The $5
The $5 bits of broken chair trophy.
Which, by the way, and we're not getting paid for this, but we love Team Jack, so we're gonna do it anyway. What's the website, Rico? Can you look that up for me? Because every year, and I'm sure you guys are aware, but we're in a dead heat with Minnesota fans with their favorite charity, Team 4-1, I believe, which I'm sure is a terrific charity.
It is.
And the rest of the year, you should gladly support them. For the rest of this week, I need you to beat them mercilessly. Not the actual charity, just in the donation giving.
BrokenChairTrophy.com.
Yeah, BrokenChairTrophy.com. Go there. It goes until game time, I believe, like all the way up until kickoff. So you've got about 36 more hours to go and beat. Do we have an update on?
Oh, the update? I'll look it up. But there's the trophy on the screen right now. And it's glorious in all of its beautiful wonder.
You can actually often see this trophy, the actual legitimate trophy, at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Like, we keep it here sometimes.
I know the person who built it.
Do you?
I do. He worked in a coffee shop in Lincoln.
Oh, look at him.
Shout out to Luke.
Shout out Luke.
He's an amazing person.
Yeah,
and I love that trophy so much.
Our boss, Gorman, kind of just keeps custody of it for Team Jack a lot of the time, so it makes appearances at the bar quite a bit if you ever need to see it. But Funky Giblet says, I still like medals. Pretty clear who first, second, and third are. That's fair. It is clear. Medals are a good like secondary trophy. Like they're a nice like accessory. I still need a real trophy. I'm a big trophy guy, I think.
Okay, so milestone, not a update on either team, but milestone from the $5 bits of broken chair as of last night. They just hit an all-time total of $200,000.
Oh, for the all-time total.
For the all-time total, $200,000 donated through the broken chair.
Incredible. Well done.
14 hours ago, update, Nebraska is ahead of Minnesota.
Okay.
13,264 to 10,470.
That's too close, guys. It's too close.
They were ahead by
they were ahead for a long time.
For a while, and then Nebraska fans were like, all right, it's time to stop messing around.
Yeah, it's like,
and I understand, Nebraska fans don't lose online polls. This isn't an online poll, but it's still a great thing. So go to BrokenChairTrophy.com, donate for the Huskers. It goes to Team Jack, and it's again a wonderful cause for an amazing trophy. And then when Nebraska beats Minnesota, they bring the trophy back home, even though it's not actually recognized by
Stupid
either
Big Ten.
university or the Big Ten. It's still a great trophy, and I hope that Matt Rule allows them to like get their trophy. They're not allowed to take it on the field. Neither university will let them. But for like the first 2 years, they actually did. It was on the field.
Yeah.
And like Mike Riley, like they handed it to Mike Riley, and he like handed it to his team, and they were celebrating. Then Minnesota won it, and then I think Nebraska won it like 2 years later, and they couldn't find it. So actually, the original broken chair trophy, nobody knows where it is.
Disappeared
like
somewhere.
the OG, the very first one.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where it is.
This is a Bo Pelini creation, correct? The him just offhandedly saying like, I don't know, are we playing for like the $5 bits of broken chair trophy?
Yeah. No. It was Faux Pelini and Goldie the Gopher on Twitter were going back and forth. And
Gotcha.
they said, one of them said, I'm going to break a chair over your back. And they're like, yeah, then we'll turn it into a trophy. And they said it's $5 bits of broken chair. And then somebody made it, and then it kind of became official.
Sometimes I forget that Bo Pelini and Faux Pelini are not the same person.
No, they are not. Famously.
They
could be.
We think.
They could be.
We think they're not the same person. We don't know.
We should get Faux Pelini on the show.
If you can track him down, we'll talk to him.
I'll do my best.
You see what you can do. Coming up on the show today, probably less strip club talk. I would guess. I don't know for sure.
I'm not sure. It's your show.
I'm not sure either.
I'm not planning on talking about strip clubs.
I wasn't either. This is Austin's fault.
Yep, Austin.
Michael Rose-Ivey will be here at 8 o'clock. We're going to talk a little Minnesota football.
We will not ask him his favorite strip club.
No, that's
a bad idea.
That feels inappropriate. Don't even bring that up, Rigo. We'll talk about the matchup coming up here tomorrow. It feels weird. It feels weird that it's tomorrow. I'm just not gonna lie.
It's not. I don't. It
feels weird.
Are you
tomorrow.
a fan of the Friday college football games?
So in general, yes. I don't like it when it's Nebraska because it throws off our whole weeks and everything, right? In general, I do like having a Friday night football, especially sometimes it used to be like I feel like Pac-12 games would play like late on Fridays. So you'd come home from high school football, you'd get there for like the second quarter of Cal versus Washington State or someone, and
of course we both said a state school.
Well, yeah, I mean I just tried to feel like the most random.
The two left out ones.
Yeah, the only ones that are actually still in the Pac-12, by the way.
Poor people.
Hey, listen, they're gonna be fine. Probably not. But
Oregon State hasn't won a game this year, and they fired their coach.
They did fire their coach, which is too bad because I think people really like Trent Bray around here and in general. But no, so I think I like having it. I don't love when Nebraska plays it. One of my favorite random games of all time was a Friday night game, I believe. Baylor versus Oklahoma in the year that 2012, I believe, where RG3 won the Heisman. That was sort of his Heisman game, like his Heisman moment. He throws they're coming back in like the fourth quarter, and he throws an absolute ridiculous pass to the opposite corner of the end zone with it was not quite a walk-off, but there's like a handful of seconds left.
Enough.
And about as close as you typically get in football, and one like an unbelievable football play. And that was and it was weird because it was late. I want to say it was like the 7th game of the season. So it was later in the season, and that kind of like spurred him to the Heisman because they had lost, I think, 3 in a row right before that. And so like, Baylor's disappointing again. And then I think they won out from that point or close to it and ended up having a really good year. RG3 wins the Heisman. But that was an incredible game to watch.
I don't remember anything from his Heisman year except for the bowl game.
Yeah.
Where it was them and I think Washington. It was Baylor and Washington playing in, I don't remember what bowl game it was, but I just know that they put up 1,000 points. And it was like one play touchdowns for each team. Like there was a stretch where it was just like boom, touchdown, boom, touchdown, boom, touchdown, boom, touchdown. And it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of defense, it wasn't. There was a lot of missed tackles and just a lot of broken coverages, but it was fantastic. That's the only thing I remember from his Heisman year.
So I got the details a little wrong. So it was a pretty good back and forth. Baylor actually went up 2 scores, and it looked like they were blowing the lead. Oklahoma tied it at 38, and then RG3 throws with 8 seconds left, throws a ridiculous touchdown pass that is just incredible.
Yeah.
And it was, what year was this?
I don't know.
I don't even remember.
2013.
Give me a number here,
I couldn't tell you.
ESPN. My goodness, not helpful at all. Anyway, Oklahoma was number 5 in the country going into that game, so it was a huge. But RG3 went for 479 yards passing, 72 yards rushing, and I had like 15 touchdowns, basically.
Well, he was on the cover of NCAA football 2013, so that would have been 2012.
2012.
Probably.
Yeah, he had 4 touchdowns, no picks. Pretty good. He had a pretty good day. But yeah, so I do have a special place in my heart for
Friday games.
For Friday games. I think there was also a really good like Notre Dame Michigan State game one year. I want to say I think it was Michigan because I think it was Denard Robinson.
Oh, okay.
So I
Shoelace.
think Shoelace. Yeah. So there's been some good Friday games. I'm not opposed in general.
Too bad Ohio State refuses to play on Fridays.
Well, that's because they're punks and they're not good. They're not good teammates in the league.
They're not. But they're the best, so they're allowed to do things like that.
For now.
And I agree with Eric. It ruins high school football nights for him.
It does.
But it ruins it for a lot of people. Friday is also super busy because you have Nebraska, Minnesota football. You have all of those high school matchups, a whole bunch of Class B matchups that are a whole bunch of top teams.
Yeah.
Austin broke it down. If you go to NEB Preps Twitter or Hurrdat Sports Twitter, you can see Austin breaking it down. A lot of lines, a lot of crazy talk. And also, I think people forget Nebraska volleyball is playing at 6 that day as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a lot happening that involves
There's also
sports in the state of Nebraska.
Creighton plays Iowa State in an exhibition that night.
Yep.
Which I get the exhibition is not that important, but it's pretty cool to have Iowa State come to town.
And doesn't Nebraska men's basketball play BYU the next day?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
They played them in
With
the exhibition
future
Saturday.
number 1 overall pick.
AJ DeBonte?
Yep.
DeBonsa?
I don't remember.
I think it's
his last name.
DeBonsa.
I know it's AJ.
Funky Giblet says RG3 won the Heisman 2011. So that was probably it.
Oh, yeah, and also Creighton volleyball is playing St. John's that day.
There's a lot going on, guys.
Friday. Shout out to Friday.
A lot going on. Too much going on. Well, maybe.
Not enough. I don't
Oh.
have enough of me to watch all of it.
That's true, and I think you have to do post-game with me.
Potentially.
Or no, is it Austin? I don't know.
I don't know what Austin is doing.
Nope.
So
Nobody knows what Austin's doing.
Austin doesn't know what Austin is doing.
As I mentioned, coming up at 8 o'clock, we got Michael Rose-Ivey, former Husker high school coach. He's going to break some Maryland, make a little bit of Maryland film down with us, and then Minnesota as well. And then we got Brian Edwards at 8:45, Michael Bruntz at 9 from Husker 24/7. And then we'll talk to Mike Grimm, the Minnesota play-by-play voice, at 9:45. That is the lineup for today. And we're going to take a break in the first hour. Look at us.
Wow.
We nailed it. That's just for you. That's my present to you.
This is for us. This isn't for me.
Well, it's for everybody.
Okay.
It's a gift
Hey,
to the people.
I appreciate that.
To the people.
I appreciate that.
For the people. By the people.
That just made me remember we had a bet the last time I was on, and I don't remember what it was.
I don't either. I don't at all. If anybody remembers the bet, let us know. I can't.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Austin probably remembers. I feel like he keeps a record of these things. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. We will be back with Hurrdat Sports Live. Coming up next.
Well, it was an elite environment. They had a gold out. The crowd was electric. So we've practiced all week with insane crowd noise to be prepared for it, and we're counting on Husker Nation to show up and even out the volume to a degree. But there'll become a time like last game where silent cadence down inside the 10. Where it's just what it is in the Big Ten and big time football. And we prepared since camp, so we do silent all the time. But we've done silent this week as well, so we'll be ready if needed. The rest of it, it's kind of once the game gets started, who blocks and tackles better. Very excited. He's a guy that could easily be a captain for us based on the voting, and so he'll be a captain next year. So just excited for him to have a chance to go back home, play in front of those people. I think our Friday walkthrough will be at his high school, which I think is really cool. And my only thing to him has been just keep it football. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Stay neutral and just play each play the way Emmett's capable of. And if you look at the last two games, when it comes to carries with all of our backs, not scrambles and things like that, but carries, we're averaging 7.1 yards a carry versus an excellent run defense. So we'll need Emmett to be at his best.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Right. Definitely miss the fans and just the energy in the building that the crowd just brings. But for me personally, just having the even kill mentality going in, just not getting too high or low. Is it hard? Yeah, I'm at BYU. This is a great opportunity for us, so it's just a lot of emotions, a lot of excitement. But I think once tip-off is going on, then we'll be good. And no doubt, just it doesn't count, so it's just, we could just go out there and just play like, carefree, play confident, and just, it's the first game, so we can just learn a lot, see where we're at, and we just build off that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't even handle it well last year. I just think Indiana was better than us. I think Ohio State was better than us, and I think that then did it. I think we've worked very hard this year on embracing the pressure and the challenge of things, playing each team as a nameless, faceless opponent, and studying them like we study them, like we know all the great things about Minnesota. This is a team that I told the team today. This is a team that I highly respect. They have a great brand. Coach Fleck preaches row the boat and all that. They believe in that and they play that way. They've gotten down the last 2 games and they've come right back just like us. So it's just about playing this team and playing this game and just blocking everything else. So, but I think the biggest thing is that we're just a better team than we were last year. Our players are better. They're playing better. We're playing more complimentary. But nothing that happened the first 6 weeks carries over to this week. So it'll be about what we do this week versus them.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you if you're on the roads this morning, keep those eyes up and those phones down. You've got one job as a driver, that is to drive. Don't get distracted. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Let's talk a little bit of football here. Just a little bit, not a lot.
If you insist.
I do insist, because we're entering into, I know it's not that fun around here right now, because when the coaching carousel starts to involve you in involuntarily,
it's a weird feeling.
It is. It's odd. It hasn't happened here in a long time.
Yeah, I understand that's kind of what Rule was alluding to, and he's like, it hasn't happened around here for a while, but this is just what happens with success. Like, this is what happens when your coach is good. People want to hire him. People want to hire him away.
Yes.
If you have good coordinators, people want to hire them away. Dana Holgerson's name was mentioned for the Oklahoma State job when that first opened, and then you haven't heard a single thing about it. I'm sure if the defense keeps going the way that it's going, John Butler's name, maybe not this year, maybe next year, will get mentioned in whispers for head coaching jobs or for defensive coordinator jobs at bigger schools.
Well, honestly, not even that. I'm guessing it would be NFL. Like if he shows that he's done, because he's got such a deep NFL background, if he shows he does a really good job calling a defense, I think that would be the next natural step for Butler is go back to the NFL, because that's why he came. That's why he left Buffalo, is because he wanted that defensive coordinator job. They gave it to somebody else, and so that's why he left Buffalo, was because he didn't want to continue doing that. So I do wonder if there's a part of him that would go back to the NFL, but again,
it would only be for a defensive coordinator spot, though. Like, it wouldn't be for another secondary spot or another position. Like, it would be for a defensive coordinator spot. But if those don't open up, I could see him staying here and being the defensive coordinator for as long as they're letting him be the defensive coordinator until probably that NFL job opens up. Now that you say that, I don't think that another collegiate defensive coordinator job would really be for him. I don't know where he's from. I don't know, and
he's from Philly, I think.
Yeah, unless he's gonna go to Penn State.
But if the Eagles were like, "Hey, we need you as a defensive coordinator," he probably takes that job. Which is, I understand. But the point is,
I don't see them getting rid of their D coordinator anytime soon.
Nebraska hasn't had this situation where somebody actually wants your coaches. Right? Like, nobody's trying to hire Scott Frost.
Well, obviously I was going to go further. No, nobody really was going to hire Pelini.
Well,
they took his brother away.
So Pelini is the last one that this happened with. There were a couple times, and I know Miami was one of them, because people would sort of make fun of him because his name would come up and he would leverage it into an extension or do a raise or something. But so his name came up with Miami, and I think that would have been maybe the Randy Shannon hire. I'm trying to remember the time frame of Miami coaches, but it was while he was here at Nebraska. And then briefly when Jim Tressel got fired at
I do remember that.
Ohio State, they're like, oh, Bo Pelini, he's an alum. He's doing well at Nebraska. And then Ohio State was like, we're going to swing bigger than that. And they did, and they got Urban Meyer. But the one that
I think they messed up.
The one that I think was the realest was Pelini to Miami. I think there was some level of teeth there in that one. But the one that like comes to mind for me in terms of this area is there's been two relatively recently, both with Greg McDermott. And it's because Creighton's been winning at a high level.
Yes.
Several years ago, he had the Ohio State offer. When they ended up hiring Chris Holtmann, he had that offer. I was working for a Creighton website at the time. I had the story written. Like, everybody thought he was gone.
Yeah.
And that was not like speculate. Like right now, we're just dealing with speculation and like, oh, he's a Penn State alum. Like, that makes sense.
There are whispers.
There's nothing that we know. Like, Greg McDermott held a press conference to tell people he was staying at Creighton because like he had the offer, right? Same thing with Notre Dame a few years ago. Like, had the Notre Dame offer and decided, hey, we're going to stay here at Creighton. But again, while that's especially at Creighton where you don't have, like, there are conferences that are bigger with more money and things like that, where like that, like the Ohio State one was scary because it's like, hey, that's Big Ten money. That's football money. And so you're like, they can definitely pay him more than Creighton can pay him or whatever, right? But that's the only one recently because it's not like Nebraska volleyball is such a good job. Nobody's leaving that job for another job.
I was about to say, like, who is the last Nebraska, just all the sports, who is the last Nebraska head coach, you can even drop it down to assistants, to get hired away somewhere else? I know that there's been some assistants, but like head coaching wise, I can't think of anybody who's been.
Dave Van Horn.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dave Van Horn.
That long ago.
Yeah, so it's 23 years ago. He left in 02, 01.
And that was his
alma mater. Yeah. And a
much better job.
SEC baseball program. Like, that's
a much better job.
It's a very good job. That's the only one I can think of where a sitting Nebraska head coach was poached by a bigger team or considered a better job.
Because football's just fired their head coaches.
Yeah, football has fired all their head
Basketball's
coaches.
fired their head coaches.
Correct.
Women's basketball fired their head coach.
Yeah.
Volleyball, he retired.
I would say Pettit retired, Cook retired. I would say
there's only had 4 head coaches ever.
Also, like, what's the better job? Like, find me the better job than Nebraska volleyball, you know? Like, I'm pretty sure.
There are 2 that I would put on par with Nebraska, and that would be Stanford and Penn State. But Stanford doesn't have the support. Like, in terms of the history, they have it. But in terms of the support, if you've ever watched a Stanford volleyball match, there's nobody in the crowd.
Not even
so
close.
It'd be Stanford and Penn State probably. Those are on par. Like Texas.
It was the Al Golden hire for Miami is when is 20.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah, when Al Golden got the job. But yeah, like there's first of all, there's not a better volleyball job in the country than Nebraska. So nobody's leaving that job on like for their own free will. And that's been the most successful program, right? So, you know, like maybe if like Iowa came knocking and Mark Manning was like, it's pretty good, or Penn State came knocking but he loves it here, right?
He loves it.
But like that would be the only one who's been successful enough that they're like, there are clearly a couple better jobs.
Yeah.
Like Iowa and Penn State are I think Oklahoma State's really good. Like there's a few jobs that you're like, hey, if they came calling, like you probably at least take the phone call. That hasn't been the case for most Nebraska sports. And I think you can make the argument, and I know recent history matters here. I think you can make the argument that Nebraska is currently a better football job than Penn State. I think that argument can be made. And part of that,
hear it.
So part of this is expectations. I think expectations are one of the considerations in a job we don't think about enough. Because a job can only be as good, I think, as how achievable the expectations are. So the two variables in that are how achievable and what are the expectations. The how achievable is all the things we always talk about. What kind of recruiting base do you have? what kind of finances do you have? What kind of facilities do you have? What kind of NIL do you have? What kind of support within the administration do you have?
Okay.
What kind of fan support do you have? That's the achievable part. The expectations part can blow the achievable part out of the water, or they can make it make a lot of sense, right? I think Penn State does have a lot of those things, although I do think it's harder to recruit there than people think. Getting to Happy Valley sucks.
Yeah.
And Happy Valley sucks.
I wouldn't know. Never been.
Everyone,
I've heard horror stories from everybody that's been there.
So that's the thing. I haven't ever been either. I have no desire to go. Everybody I've talked to, I have none whatsoever.
You know you want to go to a whiteout.
You
know you want to go.
There's
just one.
I went to several. It was all my college years.
It's just high school for you.
Didn't have a lot of diverse school experiences. Just saying. No, but like, I do think getting kids to Happy Valley is a little bit harder than people realize. Mm-hmm. If you look at the recruiting rankings for Penn State, that would sort of be reflected in this, because I do think James Franklin is actually a very good recruiter. And some of the metrics in terms of,
he recruited to Vanderbilt. So
that's my point. Like, he recruited and won at Vanderbilt. Like, you have to be a good recruiter.
The fact that he went from Vanderbilt to Penn State.
Well,
still,
you have to remember where Penn State was.
I know, but
not a lot of people wanted that job at the time. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. That was a thing.
They had some stuff going on.
That was a thing that happened.
But I do think it's a little bit harder to recruit there than people realize, and the historic recruiting rankings would reflect that.
Okay.
The other part is, I think the expectations, and we just saw this with the James Franklin thing. I knew they were frustrated with James Franklin for not having been able to break through. I didn't realize their expectations were so crazy that they're like, yeah, we're looking. I mean, there's been reports out there that there were boosters just waiting for an opportunity to fire this guy. Like, that's the report, is that boosters were sort of like laying in the cut, trying, like, waiting. That's why it didn't happen to the end of the season, because there was enough vitriol for him in this exact moment.
Because if he would have won out,
yeah, if he turns it around and goes,
have been able to fire him.
Exactly. If he turns around and goes like 9-3,
yeah.
This is the same thing. We saw this with Pelini a couple times, where they would start a little slow and they would win out and they'd win 9 games. You're like, well, can't get rid of him now.
Yeah.
Because there was a contingent of people that wanted to get rid of Bo. And so, like, I didn't realize the expectations were so outlandishly high at Penn State. Like, I would not, before this all happened, I wouldn't have put them in the category of a Texas A&M or an Ole Miss or an Auburn, where they're way out over their skis and who they think they are. With this last week,
it's a weird combination of teams. I was very confused about where you were going.
But I'm right. Like, those are exactly
when you said it. Yeah,
those are exactly the teams you think of where you're like, hey, Texas A&M, that's not you, bud.
You're not. You're not national championship.
Texas, it's always,
you look like it every year. You build a roster that looks national championship-esque, but you never do it. And I need you to realize that if you can't do it with your $100,000 million roster, it's probably not going to happen, especially with Tim Elko as, no offense to Mike Elko. Sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize, Mike. I'm sorry. Especially with Mike Elko as your head coach.
Listen, Mike Elko might be the next head coach at Penn State. We don't know.
Okay, they'll be in the same spot they've been in.
They will be probably in the exact same spot they've been in, and it's harder to recruit there. But my point is, like, you're always these schools always are wanting to believe there's something else, right?
Yeah.
Texas A&M wants to believe they're as good as Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss tends to think they're as good as Bama and Georgia, right? Auburn thinks they're as good as Bama. Penn State thinks they're as good as Ohio State. They're not.
Can I make people hate me for a second?
Go for it.
Why isn't Nebraska in that category? With how Nebraska has been for the last 25 years and where they've been as a program, how are their expectations not in front of their skis in thinking that they're, national championship caliber or getting to national? Penn State has been closer to national championships than Nebraska has been.
Have you actually ever heard anyone who's not being
like actually inside the program?
No, I mean in just fans who are not drunk or just being facetious and sarcastic. Realistic. When's the last time you heard a Nebraska fan realistically talk about a national championship?
It's been a while.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
Like, Nebraska's expectations now have been like
Big 10 championship or just 10 wins or just bowl game. It was bowl game for a while. Then you got the bowl game. Now it's
but eventually
better
right?
than that.
Right. So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, the expectation this year is just I think if you got to 8 wins, most people would be pretty happy. Now they've started 5-1, so but like before the season, if you go before the season, most people like 8 or 9 wins will be thrilled.
Yeah,
8 or 9 wins will be thrilled. Last year it was like, hey, can we just make a bowl game, please? That'd be super.
And then you did it.
This year, like, listen, they want progress for sure, and there will be a point where Nebraska will say, hey, we want to be nationally relevant again. And I think that's realistic for Nebraska because nationally relevant to me is where Penn State is right now. Mm-hmm. Nebraska can get to where Penn State is right now, I think, without stretching too much. Because you go, okay.
I mean, they've been a step lower than where Penn State is right now. They were there with Pelini.
Yeah, but they weren't nationally relevant. Like with Pelini,
they were national. They were in the top 25 most years.
They were, but here's the difference. And this isn't Pelini's fault. There was no 12 or soon to be 16 team playoff. If you're in a 12 or 16 team playoff with what Pelini was doing, that probably buys him a lot of extra time. Because you'd be in the playoff several times under Pelini, I would think.
They would have been in the playoff more often than not under Pelini.
I think it not more often than not because they were 9-3 a lot going into the end, and that doesn't get you in a lot. Like it gets you in some years.
Yeah,
historically it would have. So I think
he can do that.
I think like half the time.
It would have been a few times.
Yeah, there would have been a few times under Pelini's era that now 16. They would have been in more often than not. 12, it's probably a little less than 50%.
Yeah.
Right? So you sit here and go, okay, if Pelini's consistently making college football playoff, yes, there would be some frustration, especially if they're getting blown out once they get there in the first round every year. Mm-hmm. Right? Then there would be some frustration mount at some point, and you have to say, hey, can we do better than this? We don't know. Like, that's what happened with Solich. I get that. We don't know what that case would be now. But Penn State didn't get blown out in the playoff. They won 2 playoff games last year.
Yeah.
They won 2 They were in the national semifinal, and
they were a play away.
They were literally a play away from playing for a national championship instead of Notre Dame.
I don't understand it.
Right? And so you sit here and you go, okay. And they've been, I've said this a lot, 34 wins in 3 years. 34 wins in the previous 3 years for Penn State.
Mm-hmm. It's always one win. It's one game, really, every single year for Penn State. I understand that there's his record against top 25 teams and this and that,
but he's also not. He's not getting blown out.
No, he's beating the teams he's supposed to beat, which is all anybody asks for from a head coach.
Which is
he's in the games,
which is basically everybody but Ohio State.
Then he's in the games with higher ranked teams or teams that are closely ranked or close to the same level as them every single time. Like you said, they're not getting blown out under Franklin.
No,
or they weren't getting blown out under Franklin. So it's just extremely confusing as to why Penn State decided to do that. And I guess you're saying that the boosters, the whispers of trying to get rid of them. That's what the reports
are. The reports are coming out yesterday.
Well, to their defense, though, this is the first time they've been there because they've only had how many coaches in the last, 30 years?
I mean, they
had 3. They had 4 in like a 5-year period.
And they haven't. And before that, were they in this situation to where they were winning this many games?
So they had a drought.
So that's the other thing is under Paterno, they were good at the very end. He won 11, I think it's 11-11. I think it's 11-9, 11, and then he was 8-1 the year he got fired when the Sandusky stuff broke. Mm-hmm. It's something close to that. They had done well late in his tenure before he got fired. There was a pretty big drought before that, but they also had not won.
When did he get fired?
2000 and
never mind, it's right there. 2011.
Yeah,
they were 9-4 that year that he got fired.
But it was 8-1 when he was 8-1 when they got fired. They went 1-3 down.
They were 7-6 the year before, 11-2, 11-2.
Yeah, so it's 11-11, 7, and then he was 8-1 the year he got fired. So like they had a little bit of resurgence, but they had a dry spell before that, and they hadn't won. So at that point in 2011, they were 25 years out from their last national title in 1986. So like you sit here and you go, okay. Penn State has not been that program in terms of an Ohio State level program probably since the 80s. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair. Nebraska hasn't been an Ohio State level program since the 90s. That's also fair. But Penn State thinks they are still capable of getting to be a Ohio State level program, and I don't know if that's in the cards for them. That's not to say they can never win a national championship again, but my point is, if you're in a 12 or 16 team playoff and you're in that every year or most years, let's say you're Penn State, you make it 3 out of every 5 years, you're in the college football playoff. That to me, I think is a realistic expectation. Because if you're in the playoff 60% of the time, you're giving yourself a chance, right? There's some years you'll be better. There's some years you'll be worse, but you're giving yourself a chance. I think if Nebraska gets to the point where they're in the playoff 2 out of every 3 or 2 out of every 5 or 3 out of every 5 years, I think Nebraska would be thrilled. As long as you're not getting blown out when you get there every single year, I think Nebraska would be thrilled, and I think that's a sustainable level for Nebraska. I think Penn State wanted more than that, and I don't know where you go to get it because there's not that there's only
one person that you can go to get that.
I mean, it's Signetti,
and I was gonna say Urban Meyer.
Well, I think so. Urban Meyer's a good one.
It's like a proven track record of taking teams to championships.
I think there's a risk in every one of their guys, and I don't even know that they can get all these guys because I don't know if Urban Meyer ever wants to coach again.
Yeah.
But Urban Meyer is a guy that I had as like a dark horse of maybe you call this guy?
Like if you in firing James Franklin, you're pretty much saying it's national championship or bust.
Yes.
Like there's no in between.
There's no way around that.
Because if you hire somebody and they're worse, you're going to be in the position that Nebraska has been in until Matt Rule right now.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be in a position where you had something that was working, that was doing well, and was probably, fix this, tinker with that, maybe recruit a little better, hire a recruiting coordinator and recruit a little better for Bo Pelini, and maybe you can get some better talent in here.
I mean,
and all that. Like you're a couple of things away from being better.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of doing that, you just burned it all to the ground and decided to start over.
Mm-hmm.
And if you decide to start over and you're in the dirt, like you have a problem.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to be looking back at it, and James Franklin's going to be sitting there, looking for his media or other head coaching job because that's part of his contract.
I mean,
and he's going to be sitting there in his house drinking wine and just like, you shouldn't have fired me.
I think James Franklin's going to be coaching somewhere next year. I think he's a head coach somewhere next year.
100%.
Like there's places that are decent jobs in more winnable conferences that I think would be thrilled. And I don't know what it looks like yet because I think there's going to be, and we can talk about this later, I think there's going to be a ton of dominoes that fall. I mean,
apparently Florida's going to fall.
It sounds like Florida's going to fall this week,
which is terrible timing.
How so?
Like the announcement.
Oh, yeah.
Like to just say, like all the breaking news, like, hey, he's probably going to be fired after this game, whether they win or lose.
Yeah.
Like, what does that do to the team?
Yeah. How?
If I'm a player on that team, it's like, what?
I was like, you think Nebraska might be distracted?
What
like,
the heck?
What are we doing here?
You're just going to like, if we go out and we blow this team out and you're just like, yeah, we still don't like him.
I think it's kind of messed up too because, like, let's say I'm DJ Lagway, right? The year's not going great for me. I've been banged up, and I was there was a rumor he was considering redshirting after the 4th game of the season, especially if Napier got fired. And then your administration is like, well, we don't want DJ Lagway to redshirt, so let's keep Napier for a couple extra games, and he can't redshirt anymore after his 4. Like, I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's pretty messed up.
Just enter the portal.
Like, it's pretty messed up. You can, but he still lost the year.
I know.
That's the problem. Is he like it was about
sucks
saving the year versus losing the year? That's pretty messed up.
Regardless of how you feel about the kid or any of the kids on that roster, which is something I feel bad for Penn State and now probably Florida, for really any of the teams that their coaches have been fired. The seniors that decided to stick around if they had a chance to go on and be pro or do start their lives.
Drew Aller.
Like you decided to come back for one more year.
Like Drew Aller.
Done.
Drew Aller, season-ending injury.
I feel terrible for him.
And loses his coach and definitely would have been a first-round pick last year. I'm just throwing something out there before we get to Michael Rose-Ivey. James Franklin at Florida State. Just chew on that for a second. Just chew on it for a second. We'll talk to Michael Rose-Ivey coming up next.
All right, who is your favorite Husker volleyball player of all time?
I like Sarah Pavin.
Nice, okay.
I like Jordan Larson.
The Governor, one of my favorites, absolutely.
I think Lauren Stibbins is mine.
Lauren Stibbins, okay. A little bit more recent, great player, yeah.
That's who I was going to say.
You stole it. Any others?
I mean, Jordan Larson.
Jordan, the Governor. Who doesn't love the Governor? She's the GOAT. Oh, she is really the GOAT.
I like Nicklin Hames.
Nice, that's a really good one. Nicklin Hames, a lot of fire on that one.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for our guys. I know they're sick of beating on each other, and you get to a point, you continue to add plays because everybody knows what you're running out there. So, just get the opportunity to play in, a fresh situation. We had the change of scenery getting into PBA the previous week was great for our guys as well, just to get them out of, Hendricks. We're very fortunate. We have one of the best practice facilities in the country, but just to get the opportunity to get into the arena and see it and, smell it, see the new scoreboard, the horn's different, just everything about being in there. And now we get to play. So, right into the fire. You get a top 10 team. I think I saw the preseason poll. BYU's 8th. I think that's too low for them with watching their personnel. And, I've known Kevin, and I think he does a terrific job coming off a great season. Saunders, first team all league a year ago. And, just a tough kid who can really shoot the ball. What they've added, obviously, with the Bansa, going to most likely be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
2nd and goal. 3-yard line, right hash, down 31-27, minute 12 on a stop timer in the 4th. 2 receivers left. Quayle out of the gun, snap, turn, play fake, zips one left, leaping, one-handed catch, tumbling in the end zone, Dane Key, touchdown, Huskers! Oh, that was a cold-blooded drive.
Welcome back. Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Michael Rose-Ivey, former Husker, current high school coach. MRI, how we doing this morning?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I love the first segment. Loved it. I didn't know I need to visit Waverly and Elkhorn.
We were going to stay away from that subject, Michael.
Listen, from what we've been told by our fine listeners, the fine establishment at Waverly is no longer in business. So you can skip Waverly on that.
May it rest in peace.
Michael, speaking of resting in peace, let's start with Maryland here, who Nebraska put to bed last weekend. As you're watching through that game, I thought it was really interesting as I'm going through your Twitter feed and doing your game breakdown here, because I thought that Malik Washington is a very talented guy that I thought would struggle more against Nebraska. I was actually really impressed with kind of his poise and his ability to hang in there. What were your takeaways after watching the film of Malik Washington versus what you thought of him coming in?
I would agree. I would definitely agree. He plays with a lot of poise. I mean, I saw that in the film. I saw his ability also to be able to change the play and how much confidence they had in him doing that. I definitely came away pretty impressed. I mean, he was able to complete some passes, make some big time throws, scramble, and in some situations needed to get out of the pocket. So, I think that Nebraska's been fortunate, right, to be able to play against some good quarterbacks, and that's good for the experience. Not only the secondary, the linebackers, but also the D line. How good different guys work throughout the pocket. So he was definitely a challenge for him. I know Butler said he would like to bring more pressure. That was kind of my feeling coming out of it. I think they respect their receiving core, quite a bit. And probably maybe Malik Washington's ability to get the ball to him. So he's definitely probably top 3 quarterbacks, I'd say, from the PR4 school that we faced. And I thought he did really well. So he'll be a guy to look out for. I hate hearing everyone keep saying he's not going to be at Maryland next year. Like, it's the same people that complain about college football and where it's going, but then say stuff like that. That's the stuff that it kind of irritates you about kind of the thing around him. But I hope he stays in Maryland. I hope he stays locked in with Loxley and Pep Hamilton. Two guys that obviously know how to run offenses and develop quarterbacks. So I hope they get the opportunity to develop them and they continue to do well.
From one quarterback to the other, talking about Dylan Raiola and his kind of comeback from the 3 interceptions, 2 of them being really bad interceptions. What did you make out of his poise to come back and have that game-winning drive for Nebraska after having those interceptions?
I mean, I think we saw who he really was, in that last drive. Someone who's poised, has command of offense, can lead those type of drive. I mean, he's been doing that all year. We've seen the stat floating around, of his his last drive versus P14. And, he's been exceptionally well, done exceptionally well. So I think that was the version of him we all want to see and want to continue to see more and elevate. But I think those interceptions, obviously, 2 of them not as clean of a look, whether it be the receivers, what they were supposed to do or what his read was, definitely didn't look good. It was good to see that, they stuck with him, right? And obviously not only the coaches sticking with him, but the players wanting Raiola to still be out there and be their guy. You kind of can see that sometimes with teams don't have a good culture. Backup does well the first 3 games and some garbage time, things start to get shaky and now you get the players kind of talking over to the backup quarterback, hey, be ready, you're talking about the come up type of thing. But I think Raiola has a good firm grasp of the leadership role on this team, and he's their guy. So to see him make those throws, he's been doing it in late game all year, but to see him make those throws after that performance he gave earlier on is definitely something that's should be celebrated, but also obviously won't be in that situation again.
Michael, you've been in a lot of locker rooms, obviously, and played with some different quarterbacks. How impressive is it to you that not just in this game against Maryland, we saw it against Michigan State. If you look at Raiola's 4th quarter numbers across the course of the season, that's a time period where he really does step up. How, I guess, Nebraska has a very strange kind of combination in recent history with quarterbacks. So can you give some frame of reference for, I guess, how unusual that is for guys to be able to really elevate themselves, kind of more generally speaking, in the 4th quarter?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we're players, right, we've seen some element of this in practice. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, no, I'm not even going to say it because I don't even want to reference 1-5 for the Chiefs. But in general, the same thing, guys saw with Raiola when he first stepped on campus. Like, you see kind of the poise they have, obviously the skill and athleticism and the throwing mechanics and all that stuff. But, right, how they carry themselves just around the locker room and things like that. I think Trey Taylor kind of has that same kind of, mentality where it's like guys will just want to follow him. And, Raiola, those guys, again, they've seen it. They've seen it in practice. They know it, right? So I think it's not anything a surprise to the players, right? Maybe to the fans. But the players and coaches, right, they've seen Raiola do spectacular stuff in practice, you know what I mean? And, it's just putting it out on game and being consistent with that type of performance.
Michael, I wanted to get to the defense here for a second. I know that going into this, we didn't think that Maryland was going to run the ball very much or very successfully. Seemed like they had a little bit more of a commitment to it than anyone that I had talked to was expecting. As a defensive player or a defensive coach, how much can that kind of throw off your game plan if you're like, hey, this team just doesn't have any interest in running the football, which they had not shown at any point in the year, and then they come out and do try and establish that a little bit? Like, it looked like Nebraska was maybe not quite ready for them to try and run the football as much as they were.
I wouldn't say quite ready. I mean, I just don't think maybe they executed in those situations maybe as well as they like. Because Butler came out in this last press conference. I mean, same thing this week. Like, team not interested in running the ball. I mean, they're more 50-50 offensively run pass, but haven't been efficient around the football. And so what do you expect them to do? They're going to run the football, right? So I think they're well aware that right now that's the point of emphasis for a lot of offenses coming into the game against them. So I don't want to necessarily always say people aren't prepared or don't say that, they maybe weren't ready for it. I'd say I'd rather put on they didn't execute. right? Even on the long run, like they're gapped out, they send the pressure, you're sending 5 guys. You just need your defense tackle to stay in the B gap and force the ball back to Savers in the A gap. I think it's just things like that where more is just they got to execute better and do their job, and maybe it's more understanding the why, right? The big picture, right? Why do we need you to stay, hold a point in that B gap and force the ball back inside in this situation, right? Instead of trying to make a play cross face or, just things like that. So I put it more to like they just got to execute better. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. They get enough practice hours out of the week. I'm sure they went over all their runs. But I think just got to execute.
Michael, DB and I were talking yesterday about particularly the first touchdown run for Maryland, where McCullough kind of gets vertical, probably a little bit too much, creates that gap right off of it between guard and tackle for the running back for Maryland, and we're kind of getting into some of the more like complexities about that, right? Because I looked at it and I go, it looks like Shavers maybe got caught up in the wash inside a little bit. And DB goes, yeah, but he made if McCullough can stay a little bit closer into the line of scrimmage, that changes some things as well. When you're talking about the execution from Nebraska, was there one particular area? I know you brought up a defensive tackle in that last answer. Was there one particular area that stood out to you the most where there's like, hey, this is probably the thing that I would focus on cleaning up first and foremost?
I think they got to just get more. I think it's 2 things. I mean, holding a point is one thing, but also getting across guys' space and trying to make plays at 1 to 2 yards in the run game is important. Especially when you deal with, a guy like Washington who has some run abilities, right? You get in those 3rd and 5, and things now become, a 50-50 game, right? Of him passing the ball or even them just handing the ball off, but more importantly, him being able to scramble. So I think it's 2 things. I think being more explosive up front as far as, getting extension, finding ways to get off blocks and shed those, or hold a point, but then also being able to shed and make plays at the line of scrimmage, right? And then I think the other thing too is just the yards after contact. And kind of like, people look at it, the break the tackle or stiff form, and he goes for another 5 to 7 yards. But as a coach, I look at it more so it's 1st and 10. We want to hold you to under 3 yards, right? That we hit you at 2 yards and you run through and get to 4. Okay, my game plan or how my philosophy, how I'm calling the next call is going to change based on us getting from. And this may sound like a very small thing to some people, but 2nd and 7 and 2nd and 6 are different on my sheet, right? So those things are the smaller details. I think they have to fix. Is like when we make contact with guys, the momentum has to stop, right? It's either the individual needs to drive their feet, right? Maybe the target needs to be at a different level as far as where they're making contact, or get more people to the ball. But I think those are kind of the 2 to 3 things I would look for, just bigger emphasis on, right? Making either neutral to positive tackles, which means we're taking guys back after we make contact, or they're stopped at the point we make contact. And just disengaging off blocks and holding the point, and trying to kind of increase that havoc rate, making those negative plays. There's a lot of data out there that says you get a tackle for loss, on a drive, the offense has I think 40-some% less chance to score a touchdown or something like that. It's those type of things, right? And being efficient with your run defense and stopping them on 1st down is important, which I thought they did a good job of, for the most part situationally. I mean, you get a team to 15 3rd down attempts, so you're obviously doing something pretty decent on 1st and 2nd down, but you have to look at the numbers to see where those 3rd down attempts are. Are they 3rd and shorts or 3rd and mediums, 3rd and longs, things like that. So those things I would look for as a coach if I'm looking at how can we, be better on the run defense part. And just execute. Just execute the call. Even with the McCullough, like while we're talking about the same play, even with the McCullough call, he gets up the field. I understand that. But we're in an under front to the boundary. Our D tackle's in the B gap. The ball get ran through the B gap. That's something, I would pull my hair out as a coach, and I have a fade. So those are the type of things that they got to clean up. Eliminate the big run. I mean, and don't allow the explosives.
Kind of going on to Minnesota, Nebraska's next opponent that they play tomorrow. You've done your film breakdown on Twitter. Can you give us a little bit on what you see in Minnesota's quarterback and how his passing might be a little bit different than Malik Washington, what they've seen from quarterbacks that they've faced so far?
Yes, I think this is the first time this year they don't have a mobile quarterback, so I think that helps them. Um, Not saying he's going to stand at one point, in the pocket. I think they're going to do some bootlegs and probably sprint outs, things like that. But he is not a running quarterback, right? Not at no point at all, right? So I think that works well for them, right? They can get to more less hybrid blitz packages on third down, right? So we don't have to have McCullough like spying like they did with Malik over the center and things like that. So we can kind of free him up. But I think Lindsey is a solid quarterback. Like I said in my Twitter breakdown, I think he's only completing 60% of his passes, but looking at the Rutgers, Purdue, and Cal, I think he's done a good job putting the ball where his receivers can get it. I don't know if his receivers are necessarily definitely not the best core I think we've seen, right? I don't think they do well separating and getting away from man coverage. But they're still quality guys, right? It's a Big Ten. But I think Lindsey, he's a good game manager. I think he's gonna put the ball in harm's way too often, right? He can make just about every throw, right? But may not have the velocity of some of the guys we've seen with Washington and Childs and some other people. So I think he'll provide a decent challenge, right? But I think him being stationary will help them be able to put more pressure on them than I think they did last week with Washington.
So speaking of getting pressure on Lindsey, that interior of that Minnesota offensive line has given them some troubles over the course of the season. Is there, I know we saw early in the season Nebraska was kind of running a lot of stunts. It seemed like they were doing a little bit less of that the last couple of games. Is there something you'd like to see them do on their defensive line to try and take advantage of that? Or is it really just, hey, you got to beat the guy in front of you?
Yeah, from what I saw, they were getting a lot more stunts on third down, but I just think, man, straight up, they're not the physical Minnesota unit you're used to, you know what I mean, up front, right? And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Husker fans hope we're not looking at this as a brand game and what Minnesota's history with us has been. This isn't the same type of team, I definitely see a lot of things on the interior, like you said, that could be a problem, for them and something. Also outside on the edge too, I think your right tackle, there's just some struggles there. He's been getting up quite a bit of pressure too in the games I've looked at. So I think third down you can always work games. You're going to get protections that you can take advantage of. But I say first and second down, if we can, run, let's straight good extension and play good gap sound football. Like I said, wreak havoc, get across the guy's face, and make tackles at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield.
MRI, when you're, I've had this thought a couple times when you're talking about like defensive linemen making plays and things like that and getting off blocks. How much of that is just like, and this might be a very dumb question, but I don't know the answer, so I'm going to ask anyway. How much of defensive linemen getting off blocks and making plays and making those stops at kind of 1 to 2 yards like you're talking about, how much of that is coachable versus just has to be an individual effort thing for a defensive lineman? Because I don't, I think when we talk about that, I was like, oh, well, he's got to make a play or he's got to get off the block. Like, I don't think we always know what all that entails.
Well, it's a lot of it's a lot of technique. I think the biggest thing, especially with me working with D-linemen a lot more in the last 3 years, a lot of guys are just coached like it's a power thing. Like you got to want it more or you just got to be stronger than the other guy, right? But there's a lot of things that go into, the hip power, the hip explosiveness, being able to get extension from the elbows, locking out, being able to find up. It's a lot of small things that go into that, half a second fight, right? Once the ball snapped, they're pretty much in a brawl once it goes. So a lot of that, I think, is some of it's skill set, some of it's mentality, just a relentless attitude, like, hey, I refuse to be blocked. But a lot of it, too, is technique. Like, you got to get you see how tight these jerseys are on offensive linemen? These guys, you see these guys in the locker room before games, they need 2 or 3 guys to put their jersey on and take it off. Like, it ain't easy grabbing that cloth, right?
Yeah.
And trying to get your hands consistently there. So it takes a lot. It's a lot of reps, right? And that's why I love training D-line, just because, there's a lot of minute things that go into it. And kind of change the mindset of, hey, it's not just a power thing or you got to want it more. Just kind of these old coaching cliches you just tell guys and just throw them up front because they're big. Well, there's a skill set there that's needed, but also a mentality that's needed as well to be relentless about, hey, I refuse to be blocked, right? And I'm not going to wait for someone to call holding, right? I'm going to work for that, you know, being relentless with my effort and relentless with my hands and being physical. So, you know, there is a lot that goes into it. Obviously, assignment and plays into that. You know what I mean? What's my job on the play? But at the end of the day, right, you got to be a physical guy. You got to be willing to put your hands on another man and move him to get where you want to go. So that's the biggest thing you want to see out of D-linemen, especially out of this young front. Just keep seeing that aggressiveness with their hands, aggressiveness with their hips, and keep building confidence and stopping the run.
Now, keeping on the mentality shift and speaking on that is for the defense, for the linebackers and the defensive line and everything, what kind of mentality shift might there be for facing a more stationary quarterback as opposed to one that's going to want to get out of the pocket and create with his legs? How do you go about attacking somebody who wants to stay in the pocket and pick you apart with his arm?
Interior pressure is going to be important. That's why you can't eliminate the stunts and stuff, because you want to still be able to work Design and Williams, you know, up under the middle, under those stunts and things like that. Those are two kind of chess pieces a little bit. So interior pressure will be important. You know, if they can get that from Judy and some other guys on the inside, that'd be great as well. And so it's not have to be always manufactured. But then also, I think as an edge guy, you know, your whole move arsenal is open, right? When you got a guy that's scrambling, you're kind of thinking, I'm control rushing, meaning I'm probably going to use a lot more speed to power, right? Because I want to make sure I control my guard, control my tackle, and eliminate scrimmage gaps, right? Which would be the B gap, right? So I'm keeping him in the pocket and outside. So when you got a guy that's stationary right now, you can use a little bit more of your finesse moves, right? You can work your edge moves because you know, right, he's going to be staying, you know, at least 5 to 7 yards back behind the center. So kind of change your mentality a little bit. I mean, you can get off the ball a little bit faster, less worried about where he's at in the pocket as you're rushing. So you can kind of just figure out what's my path, what's my plan, and run it, you know. So hope to see those guys kind of, you know, put their hand in the dirt and just get off the ball and go. That'd be the best thing for them. You know, let the secondary cover up the receivers. Like I said, I think, again, are a decent core, but I don't think they're the best we've seen.
Michael, with the way that Nebraska likes to play man coverage, I know they threw a little bit more zone out last week than they had for most against Maryland. You think with that lack of mobility at quarterback, then they will, and like you mentioned with the receivers that kind of struggle to get open, you think that we'll see them go back primarily to that physical man-to-man we saw earlier in the year?
Yeah, I expect to see them blitz 5-man pressures, probably uptick that more this week. Less cover 3. That was the most cover 3 I've seen, at least from the film. I don't have the full 22, but
yeah,
just kind of seeing the structure beforehand and seeing the corners, how they get out there, things like that. You kind of tell a little bit. That's the most cover 3 I've seen them run all year. And a lot of it was stemming from their cover 2 look, which makes sense to get a young quarterback trying to disguise coverage, easy shell with the 3 high to roll to cover 3 and roll to cover 2 and those things. But yeah, definitely, I would expect to see an uptick of 5-man pressures this week. A little more man coverage. You know, just and try to get after them. I think be aggressive. Again, I think there's been pressure allowed by the offensive line. I think that's when you can take advantage of it.
That's our guy, Michael Rose-Ivey, former Husker. Michael, we appreciate the time as always. Great stuff. And real quick before you go, how do you think this game goes for Nebraska?
Well, last week I wanted to say it was going to be a double-digit win, but you know I was proven wrong. So I'll be modest and say, you know, we'll beat the spread at least.
Hey, you take away those 3 picks, that's a double-digit win pretty easy. I don't think we were as far off as maybe we thought.
Nah, we weren't too far off. It'll be a good game, but again, it's another game that you will hope to see them take that next step, and you know it'll be a big red away game again in about a fourth quarter, and we're up, you know, a couple points, and you know, get some of our young guys some experience on the road.
There we go. Michael, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you next week. Enjoy the game.
Yes, sir. Go Big Reds.
That is Michael Rose-Ivey, former Husker and high school coach down there in Missouri. Great stuff from him. As all, you could tell he kind of wanted to say he thinks they might kick Minnesota's ass a little bit. Listen,
he seemed really excited about the defense's possibilities of getting to Drake Lindsey.
Yeah, I would be too. I think Listen, I said this with Nebraska kind of earlier in the season when, the offensive line was getting hammered and stuff like that. I was like, listen, A, it's not as bad as you think it is. B, if you're going to allow pressure, you want it to come from the outside, which is where it has basically always come for Nebraska.
Yep.
Guard, center guard, Latovsky, Evans, Spindler have been good for Nebraska. Not much pressure is coming up the middle on Dillon. That gives you a chance. The opposite of that is true for Minnesota. Guard, center guard for them has been a struggle. As Michael Rose-Ivey said, the right tackle also has not been ideal, which means he's either dealing with Nwaneri or he's dealing with McCullough, and neither one of those is going to be fun. That's going to be a bad day for my guy.
Who would you rather deal with?
I think I would rather deal with McCullough.
Same. I was thinking the same. I don't want to be put on my ass.
But not by
I'd rather somebody run by me.
But not by a lot. And Nwaneri also might run by.
There is also that. It could be a really big game for your boy, Keanu Davis.
Yeah.
For Riley Van Poppel and
Judy.
Elijah Judy there in the middle.
They need to make some hay in the middle. They got to take
Because if you put pressure on the quarterback in the middle, you're going to force him to attempt to roll out to either side where Nwaneri, McCullough are going to be waiting for him.
I do think Minnesota will put Lindsey artificially on the move.
They'll move the pocket.
Yeah, a
They're
little
gonna
bit.
move the pocket.
But again, it's still easier because with a guy that you're not worried about taking off and running, when they roll the pocket like that, it really does limit your options a little bit because the defenders don't have to come up and honor that to the same degree. Yes, they're going to keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't, pull one of those random Tom Brady runs that he had twice a year. But
every once in a while, it's just you just leave it and it's like, I'm going to take these 10 yards you're giving me.
Right. Yeah. It's like you're 30 yards back. I can make it 10 before you make it 20.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Right. But
barely, though. It's very slow.
Well, it's because they don't see him at first. But it's one of those things where you just sit there and you go, okay, Drake Lindsey, not like when you roll him out, that takes away one of the options. So he's throwing to one half the field. You don't have the run option to the same degree. So your defenders can play the receivers a little bit more honestly.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it, I do think it will help with the interior pressure, but that still has its own challenges if you're Minnesota. But I think this has to be I'm looking for my guy. I need this to be a big Keanu Davis game.
This has got to be a multiple sack game for Nebraska's defense.
Absolutely.
Whether it comes from the defensive line or the linebackers, or hell, even if you want to blitz some of the secondary guys and mix them up in there a little bit.
I'd love to see a couple Shavers blitzes.
It would be really nice, and I'm fully expecting.
Pride of Waverly.
If I put the he's not. If I put the sacks for Nebraska's defense, I don't want to go too high because they're still working some things out. If I go 4.5, 3.5, 4.5,
that's probably higher than I was thinking.
3.5.
So I was thinking between.
I wanted to go 2.5, but I feel like they'll get 2 pretty easily.
So if you go 2.5, it's an easy over for me. If you go 3.5 is probably the right number.
Yeah,
3.5 is probably the right number. I think 3 or 4 is probably the neighborhood you would want to be in if you're Nebraska in terms of putting pressure on him. I also think,
and although John Butler doesn't like it, he doesn't just want pressure. He wants sacks.
So I was going to say, I do think what Butler said earlier this week about getting hits versus getting pressure is an important distinction because pressure is sort of subjective, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's some of the plays we talked about with Raiola where the pressure would count from the outside, but if he steps up the way he did a few times early against Michigan, I believe, or Michigan State. I think it's Michigan State. As he did a few times. No, he did not. As he did a few times against Michigan State, you go, okay, that's technically a pressure, but that's still a really clean look for my quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. So I do think the pressure versus the hits was a good distinction from our guy, JB. But either way, whatever you want to call it, I do think Nebraska needs to consistently be bothering Drake Lindsey.
I didn't know how to word the question, but I wanted to ask MRI if there's some type of mentality where you're facing a team who isn't good at running the ball or statistically hasn't been good at running the ball. If there's something in your brain where you're just like, oh, they're not going to run it because they're not good at it, and then they start breaking off big runs like that's Maryland did.
Kind of what I was trying to ask about Maryland, but and I don't know how to word it though. So I think I might have said not prepared, and that's not really what I meant. Like, I know they practice it or whatever, but if you have an idea of what this team always does,
Mhm.
and then they sort of subvert that
Flip it.
expectation.
Yep.
I have to imagine that's difficult mentally.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Because you're preparing for
Yes.
Minnesota, you're preparing for Maryland to throw the ball, to huck it, chuck it football.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're turning around, handing it off, and you're like, wait a minute.
like
This is not what you were supposed to do.
at least like Minnesota still tries to run the football to a certain degree, right?
There are slight attempts.
I think
The most carries they have by a running back is Darius Taylor at 55, and he has 205
he's
yards.
been hurt though.
Exactly.
And then Femi Ishiboy is
that how you pronounce it?
That's how the Minnesota guy pronounced it yesterday.
Okay. Femi Ishiboy?
Yeah.
Okay, 48 carries for 225.
So those are Taylor's been hurt, and then Ishiboy didn't really play. He didn't get any carries last week.
Mm-hmm.
But Minnesota, I think DB says they're like 42% rushing the ball in terms of their play calling.
Yeah.
So it's not a ton, but Maryland had shown just no interest in running the football at all.
And no ability to, really.
Yes. And so with it, at least with Minnesota, they have the reputation of like, hey, this is going to be a physical football team. Even if that's not what this version of them looks like, I think mentally it's a little easier because it's like, it's Minnesota. We have to be ready for this. Like Coach Rule said yesterday, they run a ton of outside zone. That's what Nebraska struggled with. So I think mentally they'll be more dialed in to be like, hey, this is a thing we have to be ready for. Whereas with Maryland, I don't even really know if you could say what their tendencies were because they just didn't ever want to run the football.
They didn't want to run the football. They dn't want to run their quarterback, and they did.
And they did both, right?
Yeah.
And so and then Nebraska still.
Which you're facing a team whose strength defensively is your strength offensively.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, well, let's go against the grain because our weakness is there. It was a weird combination of things, which is the same thing for Minnesota right now.
Minus the mobile quarterback, which I think helps a lot.
Yeah. I also think that Minnesota has a better coach.
I
think PJ Fleck's better than Mike Locksley.
That's probably true. I'm probably not going to fight you on that. I think Mike Locksley is better than most people think.
I like Mike Locksley.
I think he's better than most people think. And I think he's been better at Maryland than most people think. But I won't fight you on PJ Fleck being a better football coach.
Regardless of how you feel about him, if you think he's annoying and rowing the boat, he's a damn good coach.
Got to row. Minnesota's not an easy job. Like he's done well at a place that's not an easy job.
Maybe you should have recruited Mr. Football.
I do want to ask you.
That would have been a good start.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have him. I'd be sad.
I would also be sad.
We like Emmett Johnson. Looking for a big game out of him.
Dang it!
What?
I should have asked Emmett Johnson. He's had this game circled. He was Mr. Football in Minnesota. He wanted the scholarship offer from Minnesota. He didn't get it. Like, this is a big game for him. Is there a fear of him pressing too much? And I know Rule kind of spoke about it yesterday about, hey, man, it's just football. Just play football. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Just play football. But is there any concern from, like, the players where, like, hey, dude, like, we understand, like, this is your thing. Like, this is the team that you want to smash them. You want to kill them, right? But we need you to just be you.
Yeah.
Like, we can't have you going off and try to make plays, and all of a sudden you're not, going north-south north like you usually do, or you're trying to, jukes people out. You're holding the ball a little looser. We can't have that. We need you to just do what you do.
As long as it looks like it did last week, I'm cool.
Okay.
Whatever he wants to do, as long as
super simple.
As long as it looks like last week. I said this on Monday. I've never seen that man run like that in my life before.
No.
That was new. I was like, listen, I don't know where that was, but we should bring that out again.
Arbitrary analytics. This is the 4th straight game that Nebraska plays a team that starts with M.
Weird. Remember when it used to be in the...
They could have a 3-game win streak versus the M's.
Remember when the... I think it was in the Big Ten West when it was all M's, N's, and Iowa?
Yep.
That was like that was the entire Big Ten West.
Yep. And a W.
The good old days.
And by the way, some of the backstory with Emmett staying here, choosing to stay here, which had come out over the press conferences the last couple of days. That's been interesting stuff to hear from the coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen, we like Emmett. Pro Emmett.
I'm glad he decided to come back. Entered the transfer portal, got out of the transfer portal.
So I don't think he ever technically entered. I think he said his intention to. I don't know if he ever actually ended up in the thing. One of the guys because Keona Davis also did that. And one of them didn't actually end up in the portal. They just announced their intention, and then they never actually went in. I can't remember which.
There was a defender that did it. Yeah,
I think it was Keona.
Yeah,
but because I would have been sad if we lost Keona.
You would have been very.
I would have been.
You would have been a shell of a man.
Inconsolable. I'd have been very sad. But he's here. We're good. It's all good. Everybody's happy.
It's all that matters.
It's all that matters.
Bigger than you think, Keona Davis.
He's a monster. That is an
enormous. The first time I saw him at the press conference, I was like, I did not know you were that big.
Enormous human being.
Like you read the numbers, right?
Yeah.
You read the 6 whatever, 2 whatever, 3 whatever, but then you see it and you're like, okay.
That's how I felt when I saw Ty Robinson at Big Ten Media Days in last summer, and I was like, oh my God. What's happening here?
You see them next to other people who are close to their size, and you're just like,
He was standing next. No, he was standing next to like Ben Scott, and I was like, Ben Scott, you look like a small child next to Ty Robinson.
That guy's in the NFL. He's on a roster.
I was like, what's happening right now? If you don't want to look like a small child anymore, go to Next Gen Male Medical. They've got you covered no matter what you're looking for. For me, there was some weight loss, trying to get my body, my joints, my tendons feel a little bit better. Combined it with some peptides to optimize my weight loss and to help my recovery. Because, I don't know if you know this, I play a lot of tennis.
What?
So you got to get out there and listen, I'm not as young as I used to be.
You're a plate guy.
Need a little, I'd like to be a trophy guy. I don't want to be a platter guy. But you don't recover as fast as you used to. They can help you out there as well. Whatever you're feeling that isn't quite right, go to Next Gen Male Medical. They will help you out, and they've got something for everyone. Go to Next Gen Male Medical and talk to them today. Make an appointment and see what they can do for you. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
Well, it was an elite environment. They had a gold out. The crowd was electric. So we've practiced all week with insane crowd noise to be prepared for it, and we're counting on Husker Nation to show up and even out the volume to a degree. But there'll become a time like last game where silent cadence down inside the 10. Where it's just what it is in the Big Ten and big time football. And we prepared since camp, so we do silent all the time, but we've done silent this week as well, so we'll be ready if needed. The rest of it, it's kind of, once the game gets started, who blocks and tackles better. Very excited. He's a guy that, could easily be a captain for us based on the voting, and so he'll be a captain next year. So just excited for him to have a chance to go back home, play in front of those people. I think our Friday walkthrough will be at his high school, which I think is really cool. And my only thing to him has been just keep it football. Don't get too high, don't get too low, stay neutral, and just play each play the way Emmett's capable of. And if you look at the last 2 games, when it comes to carries with all of our backs, not scrambles and things like that, but carries, we're averaging 7.1 yards a carry versus an excellent run defense. So we'll need Emmett to be at his best.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Right. Definitely miss the fans and just the energy in the building that the crowd just brings. But for me personally, just having the even kill mentality going in, just not getting too high or low. Is it hard? I'm at BYU. This is a great opportunity for us, so it's just a lot of emotions, a lot of excitement. But I think once tip-off is going on, then we'll be good. And no doubt, just it doesn't count, so it's just, we could just go out there and just play carefree, play confident, and just it's the first game, so we can just learn a lot, see where we're at, and we just build off that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We like to talk to experts like our guy Michael Rose-Ivey. When you're dealing with your finances, you need to talk to experts as well. Sometimes you just need somebody to let you know you're on the right track, or maybe that you need a little work to do. Luckily, Centris Federal Credit Union has you covered. They offer free financial counseling services to its members through their partner, Green Path Financial Wellness. Whether you're looking for debt counseling or just some overall financial guidance, not guidance, that's not a thing, guidance, Centris and Green Path are here to help. Become a Centris member today and learn more about their partnership with Green Path at centrisfcu.org, federally insured by NCUA. We're going to talk to Brian Edwards here in just a little bit, get our wagering game right as we head into the weekend here. Got quite a few interesting games on the slate here, Rico.
I should take Brian up on some of these and see if he can make me some money.
Yeah, are there what games are you looking at this weekend?
I don't look at any of them, so.
You don't look at any of them?
I don't look at any of them. I don't do it. I don't.
No, I don't
gambling.
mean for gambling. I just mean for interest.
Just for games.
Just for general interest.
Just Nebraska. Nobody else.
No one else?
That's it. That's it.
So Saturday you're
don't
going.
Don't care about anybody else. No, I'm kidding.
You're going to the pumpkin patch on Saturday then, or what?
We actually might go to the pumpkin patch.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
We actually might go to the pumpkin patch on Saturday, but nah.
That's gonna be a nightmare. Can I just say
it's gonna be bad?
Can I just say
the kids love it though?
So that's fine, and I'm not. This isn't even a me not liking kids thing. It's
kind of is.
No, it's really not. Like just going to a pumpkin patch or apple orchard or whatever the fall thing is on the weekend.
Oh, you're right.
Is a pure nightmare.
Yeah.
Like I try and take because my wife likes to go a lot. She's been going since she was a kid. She loves going to pumpkin patches, apple orchards, the whole thing, right? Very basic white girl stuff, but she loves it. Like it's fine. And I don't listen, I like pie, so I'm happy to,
So you're just like, all right, let's do it.
Let's eat some pie. But I try and make sure we take a day off during the week because
it's less crowded.
Going on a weekend is just nightmare fuel.
Especially either a bye or a Nebraska plays on a Friday.
Yes, like with Nebraska not playing on Saturday, you may be in trouble, brother.
But it's also because I don't have to work, so we can.
I get it, but
so we're having our friends going to come down from Grand Island, and we're just going to hang out.
Go as early as you can go, because there might be a late start for people because of the Friday night game.
But that means I have to get up early.
Yeah.
And that means the kids have to get up early.
What time do your kids usually get up?
6.
It
doesn't matter.
Do they have to get up any earlier?
Time is not a concept to children. They will fall asleep at 5 and wake up at 6 and be fully energized.
Oh, no.
And they're just like, I'm ready for the day. Let's go.
So they're basically like Buddy the Elf. They're like, I got my full 45 minutes of sleep.
Yep.
Ready to go.
And I'm like, please, dear God, go back to sleep.
Don't do that.
And you always just wake up and they're just in your bed. Like,
Jump scares all the time.
Like KJ's just like, Daddy, can I lay on you? I go, Sure, dude, you're getting heavier, but whatever.
I was gonna say, at some point, this needs to stop. You're gonna crush me.
I'm like, you're still cute. It's okay. It's everybody.
What games are you looking at?
What games am I
this
looking
week?
at?
Yeah.
Honestly, I won't be able to watch it because it's on during the Nebraska game. But Louisville, Miami is really interesting to me. But then on Saturday, obviously LSU Vanderbilt because my guy Diego Pavia.
Oh yeah,
like
big
that one.
big Pavia energy.
And then Ole Miss Georgia should be amazing.
I don't know what to do with that game.
Should be.
I don't know how good I think Ole Miss is.
I don't think they're that good, and I think Georgia's going to beat them. But it should be very fun. As long as Sam Levitt is back, Arizona State.
I think Texas Tech, Arizona State's a little spicy.
Low key on the down low, Oregon having to travel across the country to play at Rutgers. I understand Rutgers at Rutgers doesn't really mean much, but Rutgers has to travel across the country.
Rutgers can fill it up now,
and Rutgers is always spicy.
Yeah,
like they might just be spicy for 2 quarters, but they're spicy.
Yeah.
So that's a team. Florida, because I want to see if they win and still fire their coach.
Incredible.
Like the fact that Mississippi State's going to Florida, and there is a chance that the Gators will still fire Billy Napier.
Yeah.
Whether they win.
Yeah.
Is ridiculous. And if I'm a player on that team, I mean, I'm not going to give up because obviously you're a competitor and you still want to win.
Yeah.
But like, what are you playing for?
I also don't understand.
What are you playing for? Because you're not playing to save your coach's job because he could still lose it.
I don't understand if this is the case, why they didn't just fire him. I don't know if there's a buyout drop-off or something I'm unaware of, but this seems very strange.
You should have just done it. As soon as the announcement came, like not announcement, but as soon as the rumor started, I'd have been like, you know what? I'm doing it.
I mean, honestly, they probably could have done it a couple weeks ago and just been like, all right, listen, we're done here. Like, because they start 1-3, just call it.
But they beat who'd they beat that we were?
No, the next week they beat Texas.
They beat Texas.
After that, if you do it before that week, you're fine. Because I think they had just lost to Miami.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, we're done here. Just call it.
You know
you
what?
start 1-3, just call it.
Maybe there's a buyout clause for the amount of games.
Wipe my hand.
But I mean, Nebraska didn't care for Scott Frost. You lost to Georgia Southern.
Yeah, it's like you don't.
That was my kid's first game.
So it's your fault.
It was both my kids' first game.
Well,
Ellie fell asleep though.
Thank you though, I guess. For
my fault? Is that what your fault?
No, you're right. Thank you for expediting that process.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that for sure.
It was the first game my father-in-law's gone to in a while because usually during this time he's harvesting. Just took a weekend off.
Well, you're sure. Yeah. We have B here.
We do.
Let's get to our guy Brian Edwards, Major Wager, our Vegas insider. B, what's going on, bud?
What's happening, fellas? Good morning.
Brian, are there odds on Billy Napier winning and getting fired?
I actually went to Bet Online to look at what kind of head coaching odds they had. All they had was next Penn State coach and where James Franklin will coach next year. And by the way, Matt Rule was not the favorite. Joe Brady was the favorite.
So there's this.
I saw that.
Have you heard the rumor? Have you heard this rumor?
No, because I was like, wait, Joe Brady. I mean, I know Joe Brady.
You know who Joe Brady is, right? But so there's this. I think the owner of the Bills is a Penn State guy, and he funds a lot of this stuff.
Sure.
The conspiracy theory in college football is that he personally paid for the James Franklin buyout because he wanted Joe Brady, his offensive coordinator, to go coach his alma mater.
Gotcha.
That's the rumor. So it is interesting to see how much influence the boosters appear to have now.
That would be hilarious.
Well, McDermott's probably going to be pissed at his owner because, he's going to have to leave mid-season. He's not going to mess up the Penn State recruiting cycle.
I know.
I mean, McDermott's already pissed at Joe Brady for running the super reverse. He's run it like 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
So let me ask you about Florida before we get in some games here. It feels like Napier's getting fired at some point in this year, whatever happens, right? But who would you what level of coach would you be happy with? Because I was talking about this with Penn State, and I think there's this weird thing there where I don't know how happy Penn State is if they hire Joe Brady or a Fran Brown.
Right.
Right?
Right.
As a Florida fan, what level of coach would you be happy with?
1, Lane Kiffin, 2, Marcus Freeman, 3 Signetti. I don't know that Freeman and Signetti are looking to leave. I don't know that Lane's looking to leave, but he's back together with his ex-wife, who I went to Florida with, and she's the son of John Reeves, Gator quarterback in the late 60s, early 70s. So maybe Layla gives us a chance, or maybe we get a good chance anyway. I don't know. I think Franklin is a pretty good 4th fallback option, and I'll throw another one out at you. If things go south on LSU, I think Brian Kelly's another pretty good, like option 4 or 5. I mean, I don't want James Franklin, but
he could do worse.
I could do a lot worse.
Like that dude wins a lot of football games.
Yeah, he wins a lot of football games. I mean, hey, if I got to go 10-2 every year, it's better than 5-7.
I mean, if you go 10-2 in the year, you're in the playoff every year, right? Like that's
probably what, 3rd, 4th place in the SEC in a playoff spot.
Yeah, so I think James Franklin and Brian Kelly, if things really go south on LSU in the next month, are really good fallback options. I don't know if Signetti's realistic. I mean, why would he leave? He's the king.
I think Signetti ends up at LSU.
Oh. Well, then that would make Brian Kelly available. Again, Brian Kelly and James Franklin are excellent, like, plan D or E options in my mind.
So you're shooting big. Like you're not looking at coordinators. You're not looking at you're shooting big. This is Florida we're talking about.
Proven, successful, high level, elite, power 4 experience, all that.
Okay.
Aren't Brian Kelly and James Franklin pretty much the same person? They'll win you a lot of games. They're not no title.
Sorta. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty close. Yeah, that's a fairly decent point. All right, let's jump in here, B. I see that you're going to start off just being a hater on that Minnesota-Nebraska line. How are you feeling about that one? That line has been pretty strange. I think it started at like 5.5. I think it got up to like 8.5 or 9, and now we're kind of settling on 7.5.
I don't do a whole lot of Nebraska games.
I know you don't. I know.
I really don't. But man, this line just seems way inflated to me. I mean, Minnesota hasn't really played anybody at home, but they are undefeated at home. They've won 6 of their last 7 at home, and the only home loss was to Penn State by 1, and it was 11.5-point dog last November, and they've beaten Nebraska 5 in a row, and it's a terrible travel spot for Nebraska. You traveled to Maryland last week, and now you got to travel to Minnesota on a short week. And the Cornhuskers are 3-8 against the spread. Their last 11 as road favorites since 2019. So I'll take Minnesota plus 7.5. Hope the Cornhuskers win. Just don't win by 8 or more, please.
you just want to make sure that they don't cover. Listen,
please.
One of the big games this weekend that I'm super interested in because I have no idea what to make. I have no idea what to make of Tennessee in particular, but I'm not totally sure what to make of Bama either. Bama's an 8-point favorite against Tennessee this week.
Yeah, so I thought Tennessee was going to have one of the best defenses in the country like they did last year. They only gave up 16.1 points per game last year. They brought back 8 starters on D, but they did lose a starting corner, Ricky Gibson, to a season ender last month, and their third-team All-American corner, Jamad McCoy, who was I just said he was third-team All-American. He tore his ACL in January. He's not back. They're 15th in the SEC and 108 nationally in scoring defense, giving up 29.3 points per game. And even worse, they're 124 of 136 FBS teams against the pass. And Arkansas had no business losing. They had 29 first downs, 496 total yards at Neyland last week, but they were -3 in turnover margin. Bama's won 5 in a row, 4-0-1 ATS. Ty Simpson is getting better each week, 16-1 TDI&T ratio. I think he shreds the Vols secondary. I think Bama wins by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I really like how Ty Simpson's been playing. I've been super impressed with him. Let's move over to we mentioned your Florida Gators earlier and kind of the weird spot that they're in here with Mississippi State with some of the rumors that have been out this week. Is that factoring into your Mississippi State pick here on the +10 or buying the half point?
Yeah, not too much. I mean, Napier's the favorite is terrible. 4-9 against the spread since he's been at Florida. It's a small sample, but Levy is a road dog at Mississippi State, 4-2 ATS, and Yeah, Mississippi State's had 2 weeks to prepare, and Gators off back-to-back games against the Texas schools. I will buy the half point to 10 at minus 120 juice and take the underdog.
I've been sort of fascinated. I like Jeff Lebby a lot. I think he's doing a good job, and I obviously he's a great offensive mind. Like, I am curious if some of these teams start, because I think this carousel could get really, really weird.
Yeah.
With the dominoes that fall,
Yes.
right? So, like, I do wonder if Jeff Lebby, if he gets to like 7 wins at Mississippi State, if somebody's like, hey, let's give that guy a shot, because Mississippi State is a job that sucks.
If Jeff Levy's name starts getting mentioned in the coaching carousel, we've gone too far.
I don't think we've gone far enough. I think we've gone.
We've never gone too far with that drama.
I love a coaching carousel. All right. Speaking of being a hater, you like Stanford plus 18 against Florida State. I mean, that's a job. I think, you know, what's funny is we were talking about Florida State. I go, I wouldn't be mad about James Franklin at Florida State.
I wouldn't be either. Yeah. Are y'all going to pony up that what's it, like 58 mil or 454?
I don't know. I don't know what their money situation's like. Like, I don't know if they've got somebody that's just like, yeah, we'll cover this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking about $100 million move because whoever the new coach is,
and plus staff buyouts and things.
Yeah.
Because they just hired. And also, like, I really like Gus Malzahn. I don't want him to lose Gus Malzahn, but like, you're probably like, if you get a new coach in, you're probably not keeping him. I don't know.
Right.
But you've got Stanford as covering a pretty big number here.
Yeah, I mean, just the travel spot all the way out. all the way out west and late night, and then I don't know about Deuce Robinson and Randy Pittman's health, Squirrel White's health. I mean, maybe 3 of your better receivers potentially out. ACC injury report comes out tonight. Stanford hadn't played anybody at home, just San Jose State and BC, but they won both games at home. It's a lot of points, and FSU hasn't won a road game since the Swamp in 2023, and they're laying 18. I'll take Stanford.
Yeah, winning road games would be nice. That'd be cool. Let's run through some of your player props here. You're back on your rushing total, especially with quarterbacks. Let's run through some of those, starting with Haynes King.
Yeah, so let's go Haynes King. I've seen it anywhere from 68.5 to 73.5 for Georgia Tech at Duke. Let's go over on King. Let's go Mike Washington, Arkansas running back. I've seen it from 54.5 to 59.5. He has had 63 or more in all 6 games, and he had a season high 19 carries for 131 at Tennessee last week. A&M's got a really good defense, but they're only 8th in rush defense. And I'll also go Arkansas QB Talon Green over 52.5 rushing yards. And I'll go Diego Paya over 53.5 rushing yards. And Vandy running back Cedric Alexander over 47.5 rushing yards. And in the NFL, I've seen Jackson Dart anywhere from 39.5 to 43.5. Let's go over. He's gone over all 3 games with 54, 55, and 58 rushing yards so far. And going back to Ole Miss last year, he's had 43 or more rushing yards the last 5 games at Ole Miss, so 8 games in a row. And let's do Dart plus 340 anytime touchdown. He scored touchdowns in 2 of his first 3 NFL starts. And if we're low on time, I'll just spit out a few more. Seattle minus 3 at home to the Texans on Monday night. Darnold, 9-1 TDI&T ratio the last 4 games. Nobody can cover Jackson Smith and Jigba. And Seattle 4-1, both straight up in ATS the last 5. And Detroit's team total over 29.5. They've scored at least 31 in 9 of their last 10 home games.
There we go. That is our guy, Brian Edwards, Major Wager, our Vegas Insider. B, I don't know what you're rooting for this weekend for Florida, whether it's a win or a loss or just to fire Napier, but I hope
Napier.
I hope
that's it. Doesn't matter.
I hope you get whatever you're looking for.
Thanks, brother. And I think I'm going to wake up Sunday morning and the nightmare and the misery is going to be over.
You think it's finally going to be? Do you have some insiders?
No, I just think it's done on Sunday. They're going to try to get him to stay as interim the rest of the year, and hey, we'll see how that goes. I'm wondering how that goes. Muschamp stayed the rest of the year. McElwain, no.
How funny? Well, McElwain had some sharks to hug. How funny would it be though if like Napier all of a sudden just wins like 5 in a row to end the season? Like that'd be a little funny.
Do you have to rehire him?
Nope.
We're gonna remove the interim tag from the former head coach.
You're fired. Just kidding.
I wouldn't
back, please.
I wouldn't root for that for you, B. We appreciate the time. Enjoy the weekend.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.
That's Brian Edwards, our Vegas Insider. Coming up next, we've got Michael Bruntz from Husker 24/7. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Well, it was an elite environment. They had a gold out. The crowd was electric. So we've practiced all week with insane crowd noise to be prepared for it, and we're counting on Husker Nation to show up and even out the volume to a degree. But there'll become a time like last game where silent cadence down inside the 10. Where it's just what it is in the Big Ten and big time football. And we prepared since camp, so we do silent all the time, but we've done silent this week as well. So we'll be ready if needed. The rest of it, it's kind of once the game gets started, who blocks and tackles better. Very excited. He's a guy that could easily be a captain for us based on the voting, and so he'll be a captain next year. So just excited for him to have a chance to go back home, play in front of those people. I think our Friday walkthrough will be at his high school, which I think is really cool. And my only thing to him has been just keep it football. Like don't get too high, don't get too low. Stay neutral and just play each play the way Emmett's capable of. And if you look at the last 2 games, when it comes to like carries with all of our backs, not scrambles and things like that, but carries, we're averaging 7.1 yards a carry versus an excellent run defense. So we'll need Emmett to be at his best.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Right. Definitely miss like the fans and just the energy in the building that the crowd just brings. But for me personally, just having like the even kill mentality going in, just not getting too high or low. Is it hard? I'm at BYU. This is a great opportunity for us, so it's just a lot of emotions, a lot of excitement. But I think once tip-off is going on, then we'll be good. And no doubt, just it doesn't count, so it's just, we could just go out there and just play like, carefree, play confident, and just, it's the first game, so we can just learn a lot, see where we're at, and we just build off that.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
I think the only time, when the players did media, they had to answer some different things, but we're ready for a great football game. And this is our life moving forward, right? It's going to be all about, just, being a good team and the things that come along with a good team. We're facing a good team. It's a 5-1 versus 4-2 team game. That's a heck of a game. So it should be a great night.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Michael Bruntz from Husker 24/7. Bruntz, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right.
Fantastic.
We're having some interesting discussions this morning. I'll spare you the deep dive into small town strip clubs in Nebraska. And
he seems interested.
Did you know that the pink strip club,
the pink building
off the Waverly exit, is now defunct?
They tore it down, right?
So Michael Bruntz knew as well. I didn't know.
I drive through Waverly frequently on Highway 6. It's not like this was like a big life changing event or anything. So
Bruntz, listen, no judgment.
Just saying. Just saying.
You're not alone. Everybody in the chat knew.
Yeah.
We apparently were the only two that didn't.
I don't take the Waverly exit much anymore. So
you got to find other reasons to take the Waverly exit. I know. They got a good water park in Waverly now, from what I understand.
Do they?
Did not know that.
I don't have kids, so I'm not a big water park guy either.
We have like a map. You have the push pins and things like that.
Every water park, you just have a big map of Nebraska pins for the water parks. The red ones are the bad ones.
So, Bruntz, we were talking.
Fremont actually has a good one too, in case anybody cares. But
really,
I know Columbus has a solid one.
Yes, they do.
There's actually, you guys just go to these random.
Oh no, I've never been. I just hear people talk.
Oh, you've just heard good things.
Yeah.
On the message board, you're like, this.
Actually, Schaefer told me how good the Columbus one
so
was.
It might be from the message boards. Do you guys have a local water parks thread on the 24/7 message board?
No, we don't. It's like water cooler chatter. Like you're sitting around talking at pickup, and you find out that Fremont has a very nice water park set up there. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Corey, Shakers has not been torn down for at least 5 years, because I was making that drive multiple times a week in 2021, and it was still there because I would get off of that exit every single time. And I was like, that's a pink ass building. And then I would turn left and go the other way. So it hasn't been at least 5 years, Corey. Sorry. Just had to clear that up. Bruntz, I wanted to ask you this question because Rico and I were talking about this earlier about Nebraska coaches. Obviously, you've got the whole Matt Rule thing in the ether, which I feel mostly has been squashed. Other people feel differently. But we were trying to think the last time a Nebraska coach in any sport left Nebraska for a better job. I have one, and I bet you'll come up with that one, but I can't think of another.
Is it Dave Van Horn?
It is Dave Van Horn.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of similarities. It doesn't happen often. It has not happened often.
We fire people a lot.
A lot of dead money floating around here. I'm trying to think. Well, Erstad just hung it up. I'm trying to think of anybody else that comes to mind.
I mean, none of the volleyball coaches.
No.
The basketball coaches all get fired. The football coaches all get fired.
Ron Ravel's been there forever.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Manning's been there forever. Like I don't have one. Like I think it's just Dave Van Horn.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes me wonder. My follow-up question would be: you mentioned the similarities going back to an alma mater. I think there's less of an argument, albeit though maybe there was at the time, that Arkansas was definitively a better job than Nebraska. Big 12 Nebraska is different than Big 10 Nebraska as a baseball job, obviously, I think. Does that give you comfort or concern in the Matt Rule situation? They're like, hey, people don't really leave Nebraska for better jobs, but also the one guy that did has some similarities to the guy we're now worried about.
I don't know. I wasn't covering baseball back then, so I don't really have a great handle on the ins and outs of that decision. I mean, it's different because it's even Big 12 to SEC baseball. at the time. I mean, it felt like you were making still a step up there. Like Nebraska still is a Northern baseball team. That has not changed. They are still a Northern team. And I think that's kind of like a natural thing. And like the kind of climb, I guess, that he was on at the time kind of makes sense to me. So I don't know. I saw somebody in the chat said Barry Collier to Butler as AD. That was probably staying ahead of the.
I would say that was sort of a Greg McDermott coming to Creighton move, if we're being honest. Like they were on their way out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that it really makes me feel either way based on that. I mean, it was going on over 20 years since it happened. So
yeah, 02. Is that right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's there's probably some factors that are similar in some ways, but I don't know that really makes me feel some kind of way about it either way.
Do you have, I guess, what is or do you have a level of concern, or maybe concern is not the right word, but a level of
skepticism? Yeah.
Hey, this might actually happen for Matt Rule.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a level of skepticism about it. I think there's a lot of things that on the surface line up. I mean, it's very early in the search there. And it's fascinating to go back and look and see who the early favorite candidates were when Nebraska was hiring Scott Frost's replacement. Matt Rule was not on that list. He was still employed.
I say he hadn't been fired yet, right?
He hadn't been fired yet, but I mean, that was the search was definitely pointing elsewhere. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be a situation where until Penn State hires somebody that's not Matt Rule, or you get something announced from Nebraska, I mean, I'm going to at least leave the door open that it's a possibility. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's just kind of where we're at. And it's, unfortunately for Nebraska, it's going to be one of those things where if this season keeps rolling the way it is and has the potential to be, it's not like that's going to quiet anything down. You know what I mean? Like it's only going to kind of ramp up nationally. So that's just kind of the nature of things. It's just I appreciated Matt Rule on Monday basically saying like, yeah, you guys don't you don't do this much around here. Like this is kind of how this works whenever you're a coveted head coach and you're winning football games. So I appreciated that.
Bruntz, when you're looking at the Penn State job, actually, do you remember who off the top of your head was on the early list for Frost? The only guy I can think of was Matt Campbell.
Well, he's always there.
I was saying on every list ever.
You just start there. Trying to think who else was on there. It was
Fickle on the early list?
Fickle was on there.
Was it like Kleiman, Leipold?
Yeah, I mean it was kind of the standards.
Suspect.
They're playing the hits basically at the time.
I remember Urban was like a fan thing.
Everybody wanted Urban for whatever.
Everybody wants Urban.
Yeah.
He's also kind of I mean, were there any groomers at that point? I don't think there were any John Gruden rumors. But that's also
surprisingly no. I don't think there were.
Hot board favorite. But no, I mean that was the list, and we'll see where things go. I mean this is how searches work, and I'm for better or for worse, now that coaches are being fired at the midpoint of the season, it just kind of ramps everything up, and you just got to kind of follow the crumbs where they go. I mean, you even have this morning some Penn State's chatter about Kalen DeBoer, so we'll see, but that's I don't think where things necessarily stand on October 16th is where they're going to kind of finish out.
It's kind of funny because I thought about Kalen DeBoer because after the Florida State loss and after last year, it's like, he might not make it through the year. Then Alabama starts to play well and they start to win some big games or whatever. But then you're like, if they lose to Tennessee, maybe that's back on the table again. And I think we always think of DeBoer as kind of more of a northern guy. But as you kind of look at the Penn State job, and I don't expect you to be a like a full-fledged expert on this, but just like from the outside looking in, when you fire a coach that's been as successful as James Franklin, like in your mind, because there's a name out this morning in like Fran Brown. I'm like, do you fire James? Like, I get Fran Brown's much younger and like energetic and maybe on the upswing, but like, do you fire a James Franklin? Just be like, hey, let's go hire Fran Brown.
No, I mean he's not probably top of the list. It's interesting. I think he's going to be a really good head coach somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the trouble for Penn State is there's not a lot of resumes out there that are going to stack up to James Franklin's. Like, there's just not. Like,
narrowed yourself to like 2 or 3 guys, right? Like that as like actual clear upgrades.
Like, if you just do the Pepsi challenge with the resumes, like you're not going to have many people that you can throw in there and blind resume feel like you significantly upgraded. And I think that's probably got to be at least a caveat in the back of the minds of people who are considering that job, is like, look who you're following, how turnkey is this really, and how quickly can you win conference championships. And I mean, even getting to the college football playoff isn't even like a box that you tick there. Like that's been done. So
yeah, you have to win a national championship, right? Like
he won 2 games in the playoff last year.
Right. So that's the trouble. And that's what I think you kind of have to consider. And I think coaches think about things differently than anybody else does. Like, when you're actually the person that's in that chair, you're looking at everything. You're looking at, I mean, the support piece of it is something that coaches look at. Like, what's the difference there between the floor and the ceiling, and being able to win significant games there? I mean, I think there's going to be coaches that'll look at that and say, yeah, I can be the guy that can get you over the top. But I mean, I do think, that the fact that you just fired somebody with that kind of a record should give people a little bit of pause, in spite of all of the positives that are there. I mean, and it's not a great example, but I mean, I'm sure there were coaches back when Frank Solich was fired at that time that looked at the situation and thought, I don't want any of that. Like, I can't, how much time do you have to realistically kind of bring things in? So that's kind of, I think, has to be part of the consideration is, can you go in there and win quickly when you just, blew somebody out of there who's going to be probably pretty popular themselves on the coaching carousel as it starts spinning, because there's going to be a lot of prime jobs open this cycle. I mean, there already are, and there's going to be more as the dominoes kind of fall. So, yeah, I mean, that's absolutely front of mind, I think, for a lot of coaches is, how much leeway do you actually have before they kind of turn on you?
Bruntz, let's turn our attention to Minnesota here. How much do you kind of weigh some of the factors going into this game, whether it's Nebraska's recent record against Minnesota, whether it's the short week coming off an East Coast trip, whether it's the quote unquote distractions, whatever there are with the Matt Rule stuff going on? Like, how much of the non-football things are you thinking about when looking at this game?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't get the sense that there's a ton of distraction from hearing from players this week. I mean, maybe I'm misreading that, but they felt pretty dialed in. I felt the coaching staff was pretty dialed in from, who we heard from. I think this is going to be a good test of truly how far Nebraska's come in terms of, I mean, guys, I'm taking your question a different way, but it's going to be a good test of the on-field stuff and the kind of, the turnover margin stuff that Nebraska's improved a lot on. Like, is Nebraska truly improved on special teams? Those types of little things that add up to losing a game against Minnesota that Nebraska has done a lot in the past. I feel like that's what this game is going to test. Also, it's a true road game that's actually going to be a road game, which Maryland probably didn't feel like that at times. So Yeah, I think there's a lot kind of around this game that is going to be a pretty good test for this team. I mean, I think we have a decent sense, I think, of Nebraska's kind of mental makeup in 2025 and the fact that they're able to overcome things, stay in the fight for 60 minutes. That's all good. I think it's going to be tested again because if you look at even last week, what Minnesota did against Purdue, I mean, Purdue Minnesota was on the ropes. Purdue turns the ball over 4 times. And that's the ball game. So can Nebraska kind of continue to do the small things that they've done so far this year and come out with a win? I'm assuming, though, that, some of the off the field stuff that you asked about, the travel and short week and everything else, probably plays a little bit into your ability to do the small things.
Not small things. The Nebraska defensive line that was criticized for a while after that first game and going on into the season, they've improved as the season has gone on. And although they gave up a decent amount of rushing yards to a Maryland team that didn't seem all that interested in running the ball before that game, this Minnesota team has shown that they can't really run the ball as well. And now that Nebraska has a not-so-mobile quarterback to face, the defensive line for Nebraska should be able to get into his face. What are you expecting or hoping to see from those talented big guys up front? Because they've been kind of controlling the line of scrimmage for a few games now.
Yeah, no, the way you worded it, I think, is Maryland wasn't really interested, but then Nebraska showed up and they were somewhat interested. Like Minnesota's always interested in running the ball. I think they're going to be interested in doing it on Friday. It's a matter of whether they can. I mean, I thought Purdue really dominated the line of scrimmage against Minnesota on both sides of the ball, which I was a little bit surprised to see from a Minnesota team. I think Minnesota is going to try to run the ball in Nebraska. I mean, you'd be crazy not to. I think every team on Nebraska's schedule the rest of the way would be crazy to not try it. So, the front seven is going to need to show up. They're going to need to tackle well. Some of the runs that Minnesota favors just in their scheme are the types of runs that have gotten to Nebraska this season. So they're going to need to play well. And I think you want to try to turn it into a throw game and make them a little bit more one-dimensional if possible. It's kind of wild, though. I mean, it's almost like bizarro Minnesota where, the one thing you could count on for years was that they were going to turn around and hand the ball off and be efficient there and mix in some RPO, and that's how you win 24-20. So I think Nebraska's defense has the potential to definitely hang in there with Minnesota's offense. I think they're going to try it, but I think Nebraska's defense needs to kind of start fast, get a lot of guys to the ball, and show that they're going to tackle well. And I think that's going to be a recipe in that first half for getting off to a good start.
Bruntz, as that game for Minnesota against Purdue was really interesting because, I mean, Purdue really gashed them running the ball on the ground. A lot of teams have really gashed this Minnesota team running the ball. Purdue outgained them by 200 yards offensively. You mentioned the 4 turnovers. This has been a Minnesota team, despite their 4-2 record, that has some of the peripheral numbers seem a little bit thinner than the record would indicate. Is this a game where you think Nebraska has an opportunity to maybe pull away at some point?
I think they have the ability to do so. I think Nebraska has the types of skill players now around Dylan where they can do that. The big play is there, I think, a little bit more than maybe what it's been in the past. And I think that's maybe even when you look back at other games where Nebraska's beaten Minnesota, it's that they've been able to find, big splash. And the Divino Zigbo game, I mean, that was basically the story of the game, were some of those long runs that they were able to find against Minnesota. So I think if Nebraska is able to hit on a few of those, I think that's how they pull away. And it's interesting. I watched a little bit of Cal, Minnesota at the start of the year, and Cal was able to get some stuff done through the air against Minnesota. I think Nebraska's got to be careful because I think Minnesota's probably got the best player on the field, Coy Parrish, in the back end of that defense. But I think this Nebraska team and what they've shown over the last couple of weeks is you at least have that big play potential. And I think you're going to have to hit on a couple of those, not only to win, but certainly if you start talking about pulling away. I think that's got to be part of the recipe.
Speaking on big play potential and potential distractions, Emmett Johnson coming home to Minnesota. I'm still trying to figure out how to word it, but is there any fear of potential, like a distraction, or not a distraction, but him trying to do too much in going back to a team that he wanted to recruit him, a team that he has said that he wanted to go to but was never offered a scholarship?
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt Rule has said he'd address that with him to kind of, use it as motivation, but, keep your focus on the field. So, I mean, Emmett's a pretty mature guy. I'm sure that, the first couple series, he's going to be pretty charged up. I don't know how you wouldn't be, but, Nebraska's going to need him to do a lot in this game. I mean, he's going to have to block well in pass protection. They're going to need him to run the ball. And I think he's a big factor in this one, because if you're able to show that you can run the ball in Minnesota, and I think the potential's there for sure. I mean, I think that opens up the stuff downfield for the passing game. So, he's going to be a guy that I think, if Nebraska's going to come out of there with a win, he's going to have to probably be around 100 yards rushing, probably going to need to catch the ball a few times and make some plays, but he's kind of on that, he's on a heater right now. Like, I don't know that there's a better way to put it. He's running really well. He's running confidently. And, I think he's going to have extra motivation in this one, given everything that kind of played out during his recruiting process.
Michael, last one for me, and we'll let you go here. Just in general, how do you see this game playing out?
Yeah, to say all that, I think it's probably going to be a close game. It always is. I don't know. I mean, I this was a game that at preseason I would have chalked up as a loss for Nebraska. I had it chalked up as a loss for Nebraska. I mean, it's a tough place to play for Nebraska. You wondered if Nebraska was going to be able to make the changes that they had to win these types of games. They've shown the last 2 weeks that they have a little bit of moxie and can win close games. So I think I had Nebraska like 24-20, something like that. Like, I don't think Nebraska covers, but I think Nebraska has enough in this game to be able to pull it out. I think it's a Friday night game. I mean, weird stuff's going to happen, but this feels like a team that Nebraska always kind of has I think has had the talent advantage over Minnesota. But I just think this team's mental makeup is different enough that you're not going to repeat some of the sins of the past.
That is our guy, Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. Are you guys headed up?
Yes, tomorrow morning. Doing it all a long day, but we'll get it done.
You doing straight shot, just driving right up?
Yeah. We're not stopping. And was it Clear Lake? Is that where the Big Bopper and Richie Valens and then went down? That's on the way.
Yeah, you want to just cruise on right past.
Yeah.
Who's driving?
I don't know. We'll probably arm wrestle for it. We'll see. We'll see who wins.
Wait, so do you guys are there people that want to drive versus that they don't get to, or is there some like passenger princesses out there?
I typically end up driving. I don't want to say that there's passenger princesses in the car.
You don't have to say it.
But I typically end up driving.
Huh. Okay.
Good to know.
We'll just keep that in mind.
Have to change some lower thirds.
Are you Mike Schaefer, passenger princess?
He'll love it.
Bruntz, are you guys coming back same night? Or you staying the night?
Oh, we'll stay there. We're not savages.
They're not crazy.
I didn't know if you're doing full on crazy like you. I don't know. No. Man. I gotta ask.
No. That's when Schaefer drives.
You gotta rest up.
You're third shift Schaefer is trying to drive all the way home. Yep.
All right, Bruntz, have a good trip. Be safe, and we'll talk to you later.
Yep. See you guys.
That is Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. Famously not a passenger princess.
Not a passenger. I'm gonna have to change some lower thirds. I was gonna say not passenger princess.
See if BC.
What is what is that?
Well, that's when you just sit in the car, you're in the passenger seat or in the back seat. You don't drive.
You don't want to drive?
Nah, you're just hanging out. Usually the passenger should also be in charge of the food and like make sure that the driver can get their food. But
typically a passenger princess is someone that basically doesn't do anything except enjoy the time in the car. Sleeps or like they still don't take care of the food. That's kind of the driver's job. Like they've got all the snacks and everything. Yeah. So passenger princess is just basically
and they want to control the radio.
I don't. And normally they're just there to be pampered the whole way.
They're just there for vibes.
Yeah, they're just no.
Ravi.
No, my wife is a passenger princess. I drive everywhere, partly because I'm terrified of her driving.
My wife is not a passenger princess, but I drive everywhere. But she takes care of the rest. I just do the driving.
Yeah, no,
like she does everything else. I just drive.
Listen. My wife can drive herself wherever she wants to. When we are in the car, she is not allowed to drive. She's a good driver, but she is much more aggressive than I'm comfortable with. Like she's not dangerous, I don't think. But she's like she's gonna go.
She's like, there's space in between.
There's
these cars,
a gap.
and I have to get there.
Pretty aggressive, you know.
So you're not a passenger princess when she's driving?
She doesn't drive. I do. Like I will not. If I am in the car, unless I have some sort of medical condition, she does not drive. Like when I've had to have eye surgeries and stuff. Like
how was that?
Not great.
Because you can't even see.
No,
but you can feel it.
And I have to keep my head down, so like you already get kind of. So, like, that's the thing. Like, if anybody's, I think there's a couple people in the chat have had retina surgeries. So you have to keep your head down for 10 days.
What?
Yeah, because the way that you can't, like, suture an eyeball. So they put an air bubble in there to press the retina back up against the cornea so that it stays there and heals the way it's supposed to.
Oh.
So the air bubble has to stay in the correct spot. And in order for you to do that, you have to have your head down. So I literally just lay on a massage table face down for, like, 10 days. You can only be upright like a couple hours a day, like to go to the bathroom and eat, basically. And so when you're on the way back from the car, or on the way back in the car from like the doctor's appointments and stuff, you like try and keep your head down in the car. When you have somebody who is an aggressive driver, I get a little nauseous. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it's a little rough. It's a little rough on the tummy.
Baby's tum-tum.
It's a little rough on the tum-tum. You know, it's not great. Hot Danger, she calls herself a passenger princess. So it's not a derogatory term, but she has adopted that title because I used to not let her drive when I was in the car. And now she's like, I'm like, hey, you want to drive every once in a while? I'm like,
absolutely.
She's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We will get to, let's take a quick break here. We're going to talk a little more Minnesota football coming up at 9:40 with Mike Grimm, play-by-play voice of the Gophers. But let's take a quick break here. Want to get to a little bit more college football talk and some of this coaching because I'm interested in what candidates people would actually be happy with at some of these jobs that are open, because I think we touched on it with Bruntz a little bit. We touched on it in the first hour a little bit. I think that's a more underrated part of these decisions than people are giving it credit for. You don't want to end up with a Tennessee Greg Schiano situation where they basically riot when you try and hire a guy that, by the way, is a pretty good.
Wasn't that Texas A&M and somebody else?
At some point, yes. I don't think they actually.
It was before Elko.
I don't.
It was whoever they tried to hire before Elko.
I don't remember. We'll have to try and look it up during the break. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
All right, who is your favorite Husker volleyball player of all time?
I like Sarah Pavin.
Nice, okay.
I like Jordan Larson.
The governor, one of my favorites, absolutely.
I think Lauren Stivrins is mine.
Lauren Stivrins, okay. A little bit more recent, great player, yeah.
That's who I was going to say.
You stole it. Any others?
I mean, Jordan Larson.
Jordan, the governor. Who doesn't love the governor? She's the GOAT. Oh, she is really the GOAT.
I like Nicklin Hames.
Nice, that's a really good one. Nicklin Hames, a lot of fire on that one.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for our guys. I know they're sick of beating on each other, and you get to a point, you continue to add plays because everybody knows what you're running out there. So, just get the opportunity to play in, a fresh situation. We had the change of scenery getting into PBA the previous week was great for our guys as well, just to get them out of, Hendricks. We're very fortunate. We have one of the best practice facilities in the country, but just to get the opportunity to get into the arena and see it and, smell it, see the new scoreboard, the horn's different, just everything about being in there. And now we get to play. So, right into the fire. You get a top 10 team. I think I saw the preseason poll. BYU's 8th. I think that's too low for them with watching their personnel. And, I've known Kevin, and I think he does a terrific job coming off a great season. Saunders, first team all league a year ago. And, just a tough kid who can really shoot the ball. What they've added, obviously, with the Bansa, going to most likely be the number 1 pick in the draft.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
One of the most dangerous teams in the Big Ten is Nebraska. I think because I know what Matt Rule had created at Temple. I know what he did at Baylor. I know the type of human being he is. And he's awakening it, that's for sure. And, he's a special person. One thing I respect about him, he has a systematic approach of how he wants it done and what it looks like. And I think every coach, you can have that, but you still have to have the proof that it works. And because there's a lot of hard times and a lot of hard days that come up that really test how bad you actually want that as a head coach. And Matt has a clear path of exactly what he wants. We're all as head coaches finding and striving for clarity. And I think that's one thing he always has. He has a clear vision of what he wants to do, what it looks like, what the expectations are, and how to get there. He's a process-oriented coach, and I think that's going to pay off.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, October 31st. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow. We're going to have the only live breakfast show of the year here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill for the morning show. It's Halloween. The only one. We're doing one.
Are we sure?
We're only doing one.
What if it's a success?
Doesn't matter. We'll do one next year. We're only doing one.
Okay.
It's before the USC game. It's Halloween. Just take the day off. Make a weekend of it.
Wear your costume.
Yes, wear your costume. Come out here, hang out. I'll be here. DB will be here. Kenny Bell will be here.
Me and Austin will be here.
Rico and Austin will be here if you want to meet Team Roston. We will have a brunch buffet, the brunch items from Gretna. It'll be an all-you-can-eat buffet for $15. I can guarantee you at some point, DB will have a giant plate of bacon, or probably a to-go box of bacon. And you can see that everything I say about his food eating habits are true.
Is DB going to judge what people are eating?
Oh, without a doubt. Like that'll be. I would have to imagine that's a big part of the first hour.
Can't wait.
Is just people be like, "Hey, there's too many carbs on that plate."
I don't know how much work I'm going to get done because
almost.
I don't know if you know this. I love breakfast food.
Oh, breakfast food's terrific.
It's the best.
I'm a big breakfast food guy. So make sure you RSVP. It's on Eventbrite. Just search for Hurrdat Sports Live. It should be right there on Eventbrite. There'll be all-you-can-eat buffet for $15. You can purchase drinks, whatever types of drinks you would want. Whatever types of drinks you would want to indulge in. That's why I say maybe take the day off.
Early morning.
There's acceptable things to drink in the morning. And listen, it's Halloween. That's a holiday. So
everything is acceptable.
Everything's on the table there. It's blackout for the USC game. Don't black out here.
Oh.
Well, you do at your home is your own thing. Don't do that here. We serve responsibly here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, and we might have a couple surprises for you as well. Maybe some giveaways.
I don't even know what that is.
Maybe, I don't know.
I just work here.
Come hang out. RSVP, Eventbrite. Search for Hurrdat Sports Live. So before we talk to Mike Grimm here in a few minutes about Minnesota, I wanted to get to this. The James Franklin thing has me like a little, and it's not even the actual James Franklin part of it has me a little messed up. It's not the Matt Rule part.
Mm-hmm.
It's not any of that because I genuinely don't believe Matt Rule's leaving.
Like the actual James Franklin getting
like
let go
the James Franklin getting fired at a place that it doesn't necessarily have an accurate self-awareness of where they are or who they are as a program, of what their limitations might be, of how good their current coach actually is. Like, and it made me think of, so over the offseason, Buzz Williams,
famous,
who's the basketball coach. He was at Marquette, then Virginia Tech, then A&M. Now he's at Maryland. He took the Maryland job in the offseason. Texas A&M wasn't trying to get rid of him. He'd won 20 games in a row 4 straight years. He'd made 3 straight NCAA tournaments. Like, he's a good basketball coach. They weren't trying to get rid of him. And before he went to Texas A&M, had made 3 straight NCAA tournaments, 4 straight years with 20 wins, had a Sweet 16 his last year at Virginia Tech. At Marquette, had won 22 or more games in 5 of his 6 years there, had made an Elite 8 and 2 Sweet 16s. Nobody was trying to fire him. He leaves for Virginia Tech. So what I'm bringing up here is something really interesting. I heard an interview with him about why he leaves jobs like this. And it's the thing, I asked this question of one of our guests yesterday. And I asked him, at what point do you stop being measured against what you took over? Like James Franklin took over a Penn State in a bad spot.
Bad situation.
Bad spot.
Yep.
And clearly he stopped being recognized for the work he did to get them to where he was. At what point do you stop getting credit for what you took over and what you rehabbed versus this is the new standard I have set for myself? And Buzz Williams said he leaves a job every 5 to 7 years because by that point, by the time you're about 5 to 6 years in, they stop remembering what you took over and they start remembering what you've done for them lately. And so I start to wonder, and I hope this isn't true, but I start to wonder, these guys, this is a lot how I think a lot of people view careers. Like when I was going through corporate America before I had this job, I viewed my careers very much the same way. I basically left a job every 5 years to move on because, at a certain point, you're not going to get promotions and like the big pay raises come when you leave jobs or can leverage jobs or whatever, right? And so in today's world, there's not a ton of advantage to try and stick it out for 10, 15, 20 years at a company if they aren't actively sort of helping you out. And I wonder how much coaches are going to start to view things like Buzz Williams, where he's just like, I know what I do. I can do this literally anywhere. I've shown that. I'm 3 for 3. He's going to be 4 for 4 because Maryland's a good basketball job. He'll be fine. It's a better job than Virginia Tech. It's a better job than Marquette. It's
a better job than A&M.
I think it is, but resources-wise, A&M's pretty flush, so like you could make an argument there. As a basketball job,
as a basketball school, it's a better job.
It's a better basketball.
That's the best basketball job he's had
for sure. But it's like this is a guy that can win any place he wants to. He just was like, "Hey, I'll go do it somewhere else."
You either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become.
And he said, "Hey, I'm going to die the hero.
Every single time.
I'm going to leave the hero." And I wonder, maybe basketball coaches are wired differently than football coaches. I'm sure they are to a certain degree, right? But
it's different with basketball than it is with football because with basketball, you bring in a freshman and they can turn your program around in the year. And then you probably lose them in that same year. Whereas with football, you got to go 2-3 years with
the
certain
mechanics
classes
of
to
it
get it going.
Well, not really anymore. You get the transfer portal, you're done. Like
That's
if you're
true.
if you're Signetti or or whoever we've seen this happen with different guys where it's like, listen, you may not be playoff or college football or like national title contenders, but like you can go from terrible to bad to decent basically overnight, especially if you're coming from another school, right? Because like Buzz Williams isn't taking guys with him.
No,
for the most part, right? So like if you're in football, you just like, oh, hey, we're good here. Why don't you guys just all come with me?
Hey, I'm gonna go. Come with me.
Yeah,
like Signet. He did
exactly.
With James Madison.
And so, like he'll probably do with any of the guys that he likes from Indiana when he ends up at, I think, LSU, which is a job that's not open that I think will be. Like,
I think he goes one more year at Indiana.
I think he ends up at LSU this year.
I think it's a 3-year thing with him.
I don't know. He's never had this opportunity before.
Google him. He wins.
I have Googled him. He does win. He hasn't had this opportunity before. So I don't think this previous length of stops is for him in particular. I don't think that's on the table.
Okay.
But I do wonder.
This is an abnormal amount of jobs.
I do wonder, like, are we going to see more coaches start to view things the way that Buzz Williams does?
That would be bad.
It would be bad.
I would not like that.
I think it'd be bad for college sports, but so is what we're going through now. Firing a guy like James Franklin is bad for college sports. Firing a guy that's coming off 34 wins in 3 years is bad for college sports.
You can't have it both ways.
Firing a guy that rescued your athletic department from scandal and embarrassment, firing that guy when he's been successful is bad.
Yeah, that's really
that's
a
bad for college sports.
It's a really bad look.
And all these think pieces are coming out now, and it's about, hey, is the leash shorter now in college sports and this and all this? And listen, if it's going to go that way for coaches, then more coaches might end up going to the Buzz Williams route, where it's like, hey, I'm going to make my money. I'm going to move on to the next thing before you decide
that you're done with me.
That you're done with me because I've won too much to be measured against what you were before me.
And it's much easier to get a job when you're
winning
and you're winning
versus getting fired.
Than if you're getting fired.
It's much better to get a good job.
And more people are going to be the thing is, like, a lot of people are going to be willing to hire him because, like, he wins.
Yeah.
Everywhere he goes, he's not going to be here very long. We don't have to give him a 10-year contract. We'll give him a 5-year, 4-year contract, and then he'll win, and then he'll leave.
Let's talk to a guy who's seen a guy win quite a bit up there in Minnesota. Mike Grimm, voice of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Mike, how are we doing this morning?
Yeah, doing great. Doing great. We got a nice rain shower rolling through the Twin Cities right now, and hopefully it doesn't rain tomorrow night for the football game.
I was gonna say, do we have a projected weather report on how the weather's supposed to look tomorrow night?
I think there is a chance for rain, actually. I'm just hoping no lightning and no delay. I've seen enough of those over the years. But let's, a few raindrops never killed anybody, so let's hope that if it is, it's just a rain shower.
Well,
but yeah, there's a possibility of some rain.
Well, Mike, if it's raining, that might mean that you're going to have to run the football, which isn't something that Minnesota has been doing very well.
It's amazing. Like, if you'd asked me, last year or even in August, if the Gophers in back-to-back home games, now the Ohio State game was in between there, but in back-to-back home games, you had Rutgers and Purdue, and a P.J. Fleck coach team would throw the ball 86 times combined. I would have thought you guys were all nuts, but that's what happened. And they have not been able to run the ball very effectively, as you said. And I think the fact that the Gopher coaching staff has enough confidence in this redshirt freshman quarterback, I never thought I'd see a day where P.J. Fleck would just simply abandon the run. And they have at a couple of different games, and they've done it to wins, come from behind wins for that matter. So it is a different looking team. But at some point, and as you get to November, as you guys know, when you're playing in the Big Ten, you're going to have to be able to hand off the ball and move the sticks. And so somewhere along the line, the Gophers are going to have to figure it out.
Mike, so you brought up Drake Lindsey, talented redshirt freshman quarterback. How much of the sort of shift in offensive philosophy has to do, like with what you said, the faith they have in him versus maybe there's some of the struggles they've had on the offensive line in being able to get the push they need to run the football? Because I do think I do kind of like your backs a little bit in Taylor and Ijuboy, but also, do you think that changes it all when you look at a Nebraska team where throwing it is kind of going into Nebraska's strengths and running it has been a place where people have been able to have some opportunities?
Yeah, I think all of that is true, and I think that for Minnesota to try to win the game, they're going to have to figure out a way to get some yards on the ground. That pass defense, as you mentioned, is so good for Nebraska. But in terms of the change of philosophy, I wouldn't say it's an overall change, but I think specific to a game, if the game is there to be won and you're not running the ball, and you feel good about your quarterback, you'll switch to letting that kid throw it because you like him and because he's proven that he has got a nice arm and he's got a pretty good handle for a young guy on the game and on game management and all of that. So I think some of it has to do with the quarterback, no question. Some of it has to do with the, with the need to do what you got to do to win a game. If this were a guy that maybe there's been some times in the past where, maybe they haven't had as much confidence in a quarterback. I don't think they would have thrown the ball 45 times like they did last Saturday night against Purdue. But I think, and a lot of it's a short passing game, so it's almost the old cliche now. It's a newer term, but you hear it so much. It's an old cliche now. Is sometimes a little 4-yard pass is as good as a handoff, and so there is a lot of short passes in this new look, I guess, for the Gophers, where they're trying to get some high percentage plays that would equate to the running game. And you're right about Darius Taylor. He's one of the top backs in the conference. Statistically, you wouldn't think it, though, looking at it. He's really struggled. Last week, how about this for a stat? I think it was Pro Football Focus threw a stat out that Darius Taylor had 36 yards after contact last week, and he finished the game with 33 yards. So but what does that tell you? That tells you that something's not getting blocked very well up front, and he had some carries that were net negative yards. And so, yeah, they got to figure something out. And I don't think it's just the linemen. I think the defenses have gotten comfortable with the idea that there's not an outside threat. And I don't mean that by receivers. I mean on a particular run play, there's usually something, particularly the Gophers have been under center more this year than they have in the past. And if you're going to go under center, to me, you got to run some bootlegs. You got to run something that's going to keep the safeties or linebackers and ends honest on something, and they have not done that much. It's been a lot of straight handoffs, and I think the trend then is these defenses are like, look, they're going to hand the ball off. There's nothing else here. And so I'm not a coach, so I don't know how to do it, but, in terms of evaluate it. But a couple of plays last week and rewatching that game, I rewound. There was one play in particular was loss of like 3 yards on a handoff, and I rewound it like 5-6 times, and every lineman was blocking somebody, but there were 3 or 4 other guys that were coming in. I mean, the blocking seemed to be effective, but I think the defense is like, well, we have no worries about anything other than tackling that running back. There's not going to be a bootleg. There's not going to be an end around. A lot of teams have often done the fake jet action where you fake that handoff first, and then it freezes you for a second. Gophers have done none of that. So I think strategically they maybe have to try a few things to make sure that there's just not 8 guys attacking Darius Taylor. And then something they talked about this week, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds because I don't know anything about it, is the redshirt freshman quarterback. Apparently with their running game, there's certain reads on a pre-snap, and then he has to identify and shift into what running play they want. And apparently there's been a few where he's maybe misjudged what he saw, and that's resulted in a few problems as well. So they've been working with him, showing him a lot of film, trying to get them into the right run play.
That makes quite a bit of sense. As you look at Taylor, obviously he had the hamstring injury, kept him out a few games. How healthy does he look to you? Is there concerns of that lingering a little bit as that? I know he's had issues with his hamstrings in the past.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think you hit it. That he looks great. Like he had a 40-yard screen pass the other day where he looks like he should be playing for the Vikings instead of the Gophers, right? Just an incredible, sprint down the sideline, setting up blocks, being patient, then using speed and burst when you had to. It was incredible. And look, the scouts love him. I mean, you look at the projected running. He's eligible now. He's a junior, so he's eligible. And so in any of these eligible lists, he's a guy that everyone thinks would be drafted. So that tells he caught 54 passes last year. So the NFL in today's game loves that idea. He hasn't caught as many passes this year, but as you mentioned, he's missed it. He's missed games. So to answer the question, he looks great, fast, strong. There was 1 or 2 plays maybe where he lost his balance when I think traditionally he wouldn't have. I think that was more conditioning. I think, getting back into game shape is different, get those legs going. So I think another week of that's good. That said, when these hamstrings, and he's had this now 3 times in his 3 years, a hamstring injury, there is something about it, recurring problems, right? So to me, the fear is it's always a fear, whether you're 100% or, nowadays you don't play on a hamstring until you get to 100%. I don't know how many Minnesota Twins fans you have in Omaha or Lincoln, but there's a kid named Royce Lewis for the Twins who has been this rising star, and now he's kind of hit neutral for about a year and a half, and a lot of it because he just keeps pulling his hamstring, And so that's a fear with this guy, no doubt. And but he looks great as of right here, right now, and tomorrow night. He's 100%.
On the other side of the ball, in terms of stopping the run, that's been an issue for Minnesota as well. Obviously, Devin Mockabee had a great start to or a great game against them, and Purdue in general ran the ball pretty effectively. What's the level of concern after seeing Emmett Johnson go for 176 yards last week that run defense could be an Achilles heel?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because the Gopher coaching staff has not been as concerned about it as you would think they might be, and I think some of it is they realize, look, this isn't Ohio State personnel that they're coaching out there in terms of defense. Now, there's some good players.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be NFL players on this defense, but it's not like, hey, we can stop the run and the pass all at once. So strategically, game plan-wise, they're doing a few things. They did it against Rutgers and they did it against Purdue, where they're going to play 8 in coverage often. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that a little tomorrow night. And when you do that, they're going to give up some rushing yards, and they did against Purdue. Their running back their running back Mockabee, and then they did against Rutgers as well. That guy had 100 yards. His name's escaping me off the top of my head, but Felton, I think, was his name maybe. But anyway, really, they gave up some yards. But their theory was, we can't stop everything. I mean, we have good players, but we're not Ohio State. So we have to play some game plan shenanigans here to try to make sure that we thwart drives. So they were willing to give up some 8 or 10-yard gains over the course of a drive and play 8 in coverage and say, look, we don't think Purdue's just going to hand it off every time. And so eventually they're either going to throw one to us or they're going to throw enough incompletes they're going to have to punt. And now they gave up only 20 points against this Purdue team. They gave up 450 yards. 20's as low as it's been in the Big Ten for them. So in essence, I mean, I think they're okay giving up some yards, and they're basically daring teams to try to, complete enough passes and not throw it to them because they are a ball-hawking defense. They will intercept the pass. And Rutgers did the same thing. I mean, Rutgers quarterback Ethan Kaligmanis, who was he was the former Gopher, probably should have had 5 interceptions in that game. But the Gophers dropped a couple. And so I think part of it's strategy. But I also think that Nebraska may be more willing. I think, frankly, the other night, if Purdue just keeps handing the ball off, they probably win the football game. But the theory is that no coach wants to just do that. They want to make it last. They want to make it quicker. The scoring drive. Let's move the ball through the air. We got a great quarterback. And so we'll see what Nebraska decides to do tomorrow and what Minnesota decides to do tomorrow, because Nebraska certainly has a great balanced offense, as you mentioned, with Johnson, and then Raiola, obviously, through the air has been, he's living up to that billing for sure right now.
You talk about Raiola through the air. Nebraska leads the Big Ten in yards after catch with 1,076, and Minnesota's been a little shaky in the tackling department. Is that another concern? You talk about the run defense, but the pass defense, although they do, get a lot of interceptions and they're looking to be a defense that takes the ball away, is there a concern that maybe taking some of those chances and missing on those tackles against a team like Nebraska that's been catching the ball and running a long way is something that could backfire on the Gophers?
Yeah, that's the number one issue, I think, is tackling. They have missed tackles. Now, that said, the secondary guys have been pretty good tacklers. The linebacking core, and I like them, they're all good, and they all have a lot of tackles. But I think if you'd watch games, you'd say they should have more. They have missed some tackles. They've missed some fits. They've been out of position a little bit. And look, tomorrow night they're not going to, you can't afford to miss, a bunch of tackles and have guys bounce off you and all of that. So I think the missed tackle thing is a concern, especially in the run game. That's where it seems to have been a bigger deal. The fear just generally, though, of course, is the explosive play, and Nebraska's been very good at that. And much of that, as you mentioned, is yards after the catch. And so the key to me will be tackling tomorrow. Tackle the running back, tackle the receiver or tight end when he catches it, tackle the quarterback when you have a chance to make a sack. That was the other thing last week. Ryan Brown for Purdue probably could have been sacked 10 times. Maybe that's a little bit of a hyperbole, but not that much of a hyperbole. And he was able to avoid tackles. And some weren't even, I would necessarily call them missed tackles. They were just like, keep the guy contained, right? I mean, and Raiola, while he's not going to be confused for J.C. Watts from old Oklahoma days. He can move, right? I mean, he can move. I thought you old Big 8 guys would appreciate an Oklahoma reference this morning. But anyway, I don't know why that name popped into my head. Him and Billy Sims. I was like 6 years old, and that's when I started watching football in the wishbone. But anyway, I digress. Raiola's not J.C. Watts, but he's also not, a statue back there. He can move. He can avoid pressure, and Brown did that last week a lot. And so the key to me is linebackers got to tackle the running back. Defensive backs have to tackle the receivers and tight ends when they make catches. And then if you got a chance to sack the kid. Don't let him get out of the pocket and extend the playoff schedule, which is I think you guys obviously see him more than I see him, but to me it seems like that has been a strength. Slide up in the pocket, roll right, roll left. If you're flushed, extend the playoff schedule and throw it downfield. And when need be, instead of an 8-yard sack, take a 2-yard gain on a scramble. And so the Gophers, when they got him corralled, they need to keep him corralled. I think tackling is the number one thing. I think you hit on it with that question.
Mike, appreciate the time. Have a great call, and we'll hopefully talk to you again soon.
All right. Always enjoy it, guys. Thank you. Looking forward to the game tomorrow.
There you go. That is Mike Grimm, the play-by-play voice of Minnesota football, Minnesota basketball, sports director of the Minnesota News Network. He's got it all covered.
All Minnesota everything.
All covered. I mean, if he wanted to go big, he could have hit us with the Tommy Frazier,
He could have.
Another 15 for Nebraska.
Nah.
Didn't have to go J.C. Watt on me, Didn't.
He had to go, the enemy.
Got to go with the rival. I'm just saying. There's another 15 sitting right there for you.
Very different.
Very different. Not
very different.
Not like either, like JC or Tommy.
No.
Not
in the slightest.
Not at all. That's Rico. Rico will be back again tomorrow. We'll be joined by Kyle Crooks and DB tomorrow as well for our Friday pregame show. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have a hopefully a nice little Nebraska win. Don't forget, afterwards, you can watch the game right here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. They've got a watch party going for Nebraska and Minnesota. Make sure you get out for that as well. And then tune in to the Hail Varsity post-game show following the game. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. More Hurrdat Sports Live tomorrow.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.